race fans, back again on the Columbia River as it flows past the communities of the Tri-Cities of Washington. Brad Luce here along with Tanner Faust. The Tri-Cities, it's the scene this weekend of the 115th running of the APBA Gold Cup, the oldest active trophy in all of motorsports. We've already had some racing, Tanner, but we're not done. We've got more to go still today.
Yeah, Heats 1A and Heats 1B did not disappoint. We've already done the reshuffle for the Heats 2 and B, and they're up next.
The Unlimiteds coming at you. Stay with us.
Thanks, Brad and Tanner. It's Brent Hall here and Erica Allreed. I hate to say I left my voice in El Segundo, but I'm glad we're physically here in the Tri-Cities to watch some amazing racing in the Gold Cup. So maybe take us through. What should we expect this weekend?
I think we're going to expect a lot of excitement. The storylines are plentiful coming into this weekend, but I think the thing I'm most excited about is to see the battle between Corey Peabody and Andrew Tate. Corey Peabody hasn't lost here on the Columbia River since 2019, but Andrew Tate's speed is undeniable right now, so this should get interesting.
It should, and there's some dark horses that might show up too, so just stay tuned. H1 Unlimited, we're going to see some action.
H1 Unlimited Hydroplanes.
The world's fastest race boats.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, really flying the boat. It doesn't get any better than that. They are going to be side by side. This is for the checkered flag. Hello, race fans, and welcome to the start-finish line on the Columbia River in the Tri-Cities of Washington. It's the 115th running of the APBA Gold Cup. It's the oldest active motorsports trophy in the world. It is the crown jewel of all of powerboat racing, and we've got it right here in the Tri-Cities. I'm Brad Luce, and this is Tanner Faust. Tanner and I have got the whole thing covered for you. We've got pit reporters, Erica Allreed, Brent Hall, the best in the business, are down in the pit area. Tanner, we've got a very, very busy afternoon set up in front of us. I was just looking at the schedule and I said, Tanner, we're going to be busy. This is going to be fun.
No, it is. We've got a couple hours of just non-stop racing out there. It's just, I mean, but such a historical event. You live right up the street, right? Just over the hill back here?
I do.
Yeah, so you've been coming here for how many years now?
I came here, my first year was 1968.
Right. Okay. So just a few years ago.
A few.
Yeah. And now you say the longest running active trophy. What does that necessarily mean?
Well, there was, and don't ask me what it was, in the first race for the APBA Gold Cup, and it was the APBA Challenge Cup at the time, was 1904. But there was a motorsports event, I believe, don't quote me, in 1902. So it was older than our Gold Cup, but it only lasted a couple of years, so it's no longer active. So this is the oldest active motorsports trophy.
Oh, very cool. Well, with more on that, we've got Erica down in the pits with a little more history on this very, very historic event.
For the sixth time in history, the Apollo APBA Gold Cup makes its return to the Columbia River. To understand the weight that the Gold Cup carries, drivers have described it as their Indy 500, their Stanley Cup. Every driver's dream and career goal is to have their name etched in the oldest active trophy in motorsports, dating back to 1904, a legacy few achieve. Among our current field, the drivers to have hoisted that coveted trophy are Dave Villwock, a 10-time Gold Cup champion, J. Michael Kelly and Corey Peabody, each with 2 wins, and Andrew Tate, whose only Gold Cup victory is on his home waters in Detroit, Michigan. Some important notes and things to watch for this weekend. Andrew Tate has the opportunity to tie his father Mark Tate in both Gold Cup victories and all-time wins. Since 2019, Corey Peabody hasn't lost a race he's entered here on the Columbia River. Dave Villwock is just shy of tying Chip Hanauer in all-time Gold Cup victories. And Strong Racing has won the Gold Cup for the past 3 years. Will history repeat itself and we'll see one of those drivers rise to the occasion yet again, or will a newcomer make their mark?
How about that? A great piece from our Erica Allreed down in the pit area here earlier today, talking about the history and the importance of this APBA Gold Cup. I mentioned it, Tanner, at the very beginning. There's nothing bigger than this in all of powerboat racing. Forget hydroplane racing. This is the one trophy you want to etch your name on.
Yeah, it does. It has that feel to it. It has that feel that this is the Indy 500 of Indy racing, or this is the Daytona 500 of NASCAR. I mean, the crowds are bigger. The air show is epic. I just came from Oshkosh, which is the biggest air show in the world. Coming here, more air shows constantly. We've just literally had 6-7 airplanes showing their stuff, F-16s. I mean, it's a big show. It's a big part of this community. Even in the hotel lobby, there's just posters everywhere of H1 unlimited hydroplanes. It really is a big part of the community, you can tell, which is awesome.
Interesting you bring that up. I've never been in the lobby of that hotel because I live here, as you said. However, yesterday I dropped somebody off when I saw those photos on the wall. That's pretty cool, and you'll find them in many places around here. It is a big part of the culture of Eastern Washington and a huge part of the Tri-Cities of Washington. We mentioned we are going to have a very busy day. We got 2 heats of Grand Prix racing to come up before our day is done. We have not 2, but 3, but 4 heats of H1 Unlimited racing still to come later on the day. I wanted to just touch on that because I mentioned we had a busy day. We're going to be talking a lot of hydros and a lot of racing on the water, but I think now it's time we talk a little bit about our heat draw that's going to be coming up for our H1 Unlimiteds. And you don't know this, Tanner, but a few years ago, back in the 70s, we had something called the fan plan. And the idea there was to take the fastest qualifiers and put them all in one heat, and then take the slower half of the qualifying field and put them in the other heat. Make the competition closer. Sounded great on paper, and it worked quite well. Well, our draws now are a blind draw. It's just however they come out of the hat, but it looks a lot like the fan plan. We've got our 4 top qualifiers coming at you in Heat 1A.
Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, it's strange how the whole field in qualifying did split into 2 groups with some 7-8 miles an hour between them. So the faster group was markedly faster, and all of them racing together, and all of them are in a championship hunt at this point. So, or at least 3 of the 4. So they're going to be pushing hard. There's a huge number of points up for grabs in the heats compared to qualifying. So yes, this is the time that they have to turn it on.
And we talk all about the 4 fast boats in that first heat, and they are the 8, the 9, the 27, and the 91. We'll get much more into that. But what it also means is our second heat, those boats are very closely matched in their qualifying speeds. That could be a better heat. You never know.
Well, Corey Peabody is one of those guys who's just ultra competitive with everything. He had a bit of a save in the very first event when he had damage and he thought he was going to not be able to compete, and then basically that whole event went away. He had some issues in the previous event. I think he finds himself 3rd in the points at this point.
That's correct.
Which is not where he wants to be, so he's going to be going for maximum points. And Erica had a chance to talk to Corey while she was down in the pit, so let's check that out.
Corey, since 2019, you haven't lost a race you've entered here on the Columbia River. What is it about this place that's allowed you to garner so much success year after year?
Well, we just put ourselves in the right spot at the right time. That's really what it is. I mean, it can be anybody's race, but it just seems to be like when we get into the final, where we want to be after the score up, or back in the 80-mile-an-hour days, you know, where we wanted to be, and then just to be able to get to boat through the first turn first or right with everybody, and having a boat that's fast enough to be able to stay ahead or stay with everybody. So it's been lucky and also a little bit of a strategy thing.
And while our previous round in Madison, Indiana didn't necessarily go the way you drew it up, with the accolades that I mentioned earlier, is it safe to say that this could be the perfect place and stage for a bounce back? Yeah, it always is. Always seems to be. Back East always seems to have my number, but you know, it's just we got to get to the final first, so we're going to try and figure out what we got to do to get the speed and get people on our outside, and we'll just see how it works out. Best of luck to you and the team. All right, thank you.
Interesting conversation there with Corey Peabody driving the U9, the Beacon Plumbing. That's one of those top 4 qualifiers. That's one of those guys to be in that first heat, and as you were alluding to, he needs points. He needs points. He wants points. He needs points. He likes this race course. It's the biggest race of the year, so if you ask Corey about pressure, I think he'll say that he's putting it on himself. But it was interesting for me to listen to what he was just saying with our Erica Allreed, because every time he talked about something, it was we this and we that, which leads us into, it is a team. It's not just Corey Peabody, and I kind of want to throw that at you because I think you've probably had a lot of experience working with race teams, and you really do look at it as a group, and it's not just any one guy.
Well, when I notice the boats on the water here, it seems like certain parts of this race are up to the crew chief and to the team. I mean, certainly all the details. You've always heard devils in the details. The team, unfortunately, can be the one that throws the weekend away sometimes. So the pressure is on them, and it can be thankless, everybody on the team. But the crew chief is the one that has to monitor that fuel flow system, essentially the carburetor that's given to each team at the beginning of each weekend. And they have to be the ones to quickly make the adjustments for the fuel flow that they have in their particular turbine engine to get as close to the limit as possible, faster than the other teams. So in a lot of ways, I think the top speed number is up to the crew chief, and then the corner speed number is up to the driver. So it's really a team effort.
And those adjustments that you're talking about, absolutely, that's what they have to do, and that changes from week to week, but it also changes from hour to hour based on the temperature. As the temperature goes up, that's going to affect fuel flow, it's going to affect RPM, horsepower. There's a lot that goes into this. I think we want to throw it over now to our Brent Hall. I think he had a conversation with Ken Warren about teamwork and what goes into making the boat be that fast unit that gets the victory on Sunday afternoon.
Okay, I'm here with Ken Warren, and he's all about props, doing his work. Ken, what you got going on here? I see a whole bunch of green stuff.
Oh yeah, we're checking out the die right here on this prop. You know, this one right here, this prop right here,
that one.
number 2 qualifier at the Gold Cup right now.
Oh,
Isn't that exciting?
That's exciting.
How cool is that?
History in the making.
Yeah. This is a really cool propeller. This was built in 2024. What we're doing is after we ran and so we went so fast out here, we did 160 miles an hour with this propeller. What we do is we put dye penetrant on this propeller to make sure that we don't have any cracks. So what I'm doing now is I'm wiping the dye penetrant off the propeller, and then we're going to put some developer on it, and then we walk over into this really cool tent around there, right down over there, and we're going to put a black light on the propeller and look for cracks. So this yellow dye will glow in the dark. So we kind of do like this really funky disco glow in the dark dance like from the 70s, and we look for cracks, make sure that our propeller is nice and ready for the next run, so she'll be good as new. So that way we prevent any kind of propellers cracking or falling apart mid-run, because the last thing we want to have happen is we don't want to see J. Michael out there on the course and go dead because the blade came off, or worse, the boat come back in pieces, and then we have to spend 6 months fixing the boat, you know. So we do our best to keep the hydroplane working at its optimum level all the time. So we do a lot of preventative things like this cool non-destructive examination technique. We call it NDT. And this is liquid penetrant inspection.
So smooth, so smooth. So tell us, though, I think these props have names.
Yeah. We love our propellers. And I'll tell you a little bit of story. A couple of weeks ago when we were in Madison, Indiana, we had this propeller that we were having so much fun with it, man, and she was so cool. It was a prop that had built in 22, so it was a number 2 from 2022. So we just called her Do, like, you know, from the French number 2. And she just did such a good job, man. We did awesome in Gunnarsville and San Diego, and I just love that propeller so darn much. And poor Do, we put her on in the final, and she just fell apart. We had some problems with our strut, and the strut fell apart, and it put giant, like, quarter-size holes on the blades and the propeller. Mike drove it so hard, but the propeller, she fell apart, but she came back, and we got a second place out of the deal. So Madison, second place, you know, great job. But we're going to put our French flag at half staff, and we're going to do a salute all weekend to do, because we're going to have to retire her. And so we're thinking of a new name for this propeller here. So it's a 24. So we got to come up. Yeah, I don't know. We're thinking like maybe Teddy Ruxpin or something like that.
Teddy.
Something with a 242 or something like that, or a 241 or 24. It's got to be something with a T. So we're working on a T. But I think Brent, you were talking like Teddy. So I think that's what we're
Teddy could work. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I just love talking to you and teaching the fans about how you make things go fast. I think is really cool. So we'll be coming back and talking to you more. I love talking to you.
Yeah. Thin to win, baby.
Thin to win. You heard it here at H1.
Big Ken Warren, one of the nicest guys and one of the best characters in H1 Unlimited. You want to have some fun, Tanner, in a pit area, go look up Ken Warren and introduce yourself. He's a good guy.
It sounds like it. I had no idea they were naming the propellers down there. I mean, they have a whole wall of them across there, and it's like the abuse they put those propellers through, it seems, I don't know. You form a bond like giving it a name. Maybe that's kind of going the wrong direction, but that is interesting to hear what happened to J. Michael Kelly in some of the previous events, and it's something to look out for here. I mean, the performance of those propellers are what puts the power to the water.
And he mentioned something right there at the very end. He said, thin to win, baby. Well, and I had alluded to that this morning, that during qualifying, when you want your boat to go as fast as possible, sometimes you put that thinnest propeller you've got on. And the old line I was taught was thin is fast, but it won't last. So definitely the size of the propeller, and there are been books written about that technology. So good stuff there from our Brent Hall and Ken Warren. But we're going to shift gears here just a little bit, because you had quite a day, young man, yesterday when you were fortunate enough, and thanks to the Hydroplane and Race Boat Museum, you climbed aboard a piece of history, the U-77, the Miss Wahoo. You sat in the same seat that Mira Slovak did back in the late 70s. Such a famous piece of history, not only outside of motorsports and the whole Mira Slovak story, but also within the hydroplane racing community. I got a sense before you left the dock that you started to understand and feel the enormity of kind of what you were stepping into.
Well, I mean, a boat commissioned by Bill Boeing and named after his wife's hometown. It's just the history goes so far back. Even Slovak's story, I mean, how coming out of, I think it was the Czech Republic, and how he actually hijacked a plane.
He did. He commandeered a plane and flew out of the Iron Curtain with a plane full of people.
Yeah, and then ended up being Mr. Boeing's private pilot and piloting the boat a few times as well. It was spectacular. Not just the craftsmanship. I mean, a full wood boat. Just looking, the closer you look at the boat, the more details you see, the more amazing it is. Then be able to get inside the boat and have the potential to take a ride. Now, I will say, I'm a terrible passenger. You know, we did that back in Madison. We did a parade, and I was a terrible passenger at 3.5 miles an hour in the golf cart. And with the idea of going 130 miles an hour on the water was something I wasn't looking forward to, but did it, and survived here to talk about it, and it was an absolutely amazing experience.
It's kind of a strange question, but I have to ask it. I don't know what you expected it to be, but the question I wanted to ask was it kind of what you expected, or talk about that a little bit?
It was a scarier first two turns than I expected, because the boat slides. It drifts like a drift car. And it's not a smooth drift. It's a skipping, bouncing like an off-road truck, and you're never sure when it's going to bite and go over kind of a thing. But once I did get a chance to hold on to the steering wheel, and we've got some footage of that, to drive it, which is just amazing. Then you're reacting to everything. You're never anticipating anything, but it still it responded to the inputs the way that you kind of thought it would after a couple turns, and you kind of would get it. But man, does it lead the drivers down this path of, once it gets comfortable, they just keep pushing. They get pulled deeper and deeper into this hole of how much speed are you really going to carry into the turn, and you could just see the danger level is through the roof.
Let's take a look at the video, because I think we've got some awfully good stuff. I know I watched it from here. It was outstanding.
I'm here with my buddy Tanner Faust. What's going on, man?
I don't know what you've done here.
I lost my voice in excitement for you. This is incredible.
So this was a heavy night of, well, you don't drink, so I can't say.
I do too, but just not that often.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how you arranged this. It's an honor because I know this boat has quite a bit of history.
Amazing history.
But I was nervous at 3 miles an hour in the parade. I am the worst passenger you've ever seen. Luckily, there is a 4-inch exhaust pipe flames right next to the driver and so he won't hear me.
At least you won't be clean. You know, you'll be something, right?
Yeah, done something in my shorts.
Yeah, well, okay. We won't talk about that, but what I will say is I think you're going to have a blast. You've done everything. You fly your own plane, you've raced cars, you've been in movies, and I'm not trying to make you embarrassed, but this is really exciting too, so talk to us about that.
Well, I mean, this boat being owned by, the founder of Boeing Aircraft and named after the hometown of his wife, I mean, there's a lot of heritage, obviously, to this. The legendary status. It's aptly a Legends boat, but I mean, they changed things through time for a reason because they started to value human life.
You need to make it safer? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, a safety of any kind, there's 0.0.
Yeah, there is not much in here. Mirror, slow back.
When you get in there, you have to straddle the shaft that goes from the engine to the prop.
Those only break sometimes. They don't break that often.
Awesome. That is just awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm nervously excited. I'm looking forward to it. I know they have a grossly oversized suit for me and a helmet.
Oh yeah.
And
you've been looking good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to tell the pilot. I've got news. Like once we get over $130, that helmet's wearing you for protection.
Fair enough. Now, did I hear you might touch the steering wheel? Is that true?
He did say I could drive a lap or two.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll see.
That's going to be a big deal for you. Work through your emotions of not being in control. But you're going to do great. We're really excited for you.
Is this therapy or is this an experience?
A little both.
Okay. I'm going to jump in the suit. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, did we oversell it? Did Brad Luce oversell it at all?
No. When we started in on the first lap, I was like, you always wonder. I've ridden with Mario Andretti. I've ridden with some pretty greats in different types of cars, but you wonder how hard they're going to push it. And we went straight into the first corner and drifted the whole turn, skipping and hopping. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know if this is like hooked or if we're about to spin, but we did it 3 times in a row and everything's fine, so it must be good.
Still here.
And Jer was awesome. And he said that he pushed it vintage hard, which I think is probably 80%, maybe what they would normally do, but it felt safe. It felt like there was something you could lean on, and then he let me drive 2 laps. And it's literally just a bumpy drift car. And it's like with a heavy steering wheel. And it had like one of those big steering wheels like you see in the vintage race cars, which I've always wanted to drive one of those. So I bet it's something like that, but nothing like what I expected.
Very visceral. It's loud and it smells and it's hot.
That was amazing. So thank you so much for putting that together. I really appreciate that. Lifetime experience I will absolutely never forget. And to do it in such a historic, beautiful piece of wood is just amazing. So I really appreciate that.
You got a good story to tell, man.
Definitely do.
Glad we can make it happen.
Thank you, Brad.
Absolutely.
Well, first of all, my first comment about that, because that's the first time I got to see anything that went on down there in the pit area because I was up here. But kudos, first of all, to Brent Hall. He did a great job of making sure you remained nervous before you got out on the water.
I think it was there to make sure I didn't back out, honestly. Did you catch the music, by the way? If you didn't catch the music, you should go back and listen. I think they actually had AI make music about taking a ride in Miss Wahoo.
The Wahoo rides again.
Yeah, something about risk it all, tell a friend. I mean, the lyrics are ridiculous.
It was pretty good.
But what a time. I mean, Jer, who drove me around, was absolutely awesome. And he you could tell he's so experienced. He knew exactly where the limit was, and he when he let me drive, he let me push it pretty hard, and you could really feel once it kind of starts sliding, they kind of spin up the prop a bit, and it gets a bit of grip. It's almost like grip on the back of a. When he was driving, he could carry a drift basically all the way around. So I get it. It's one of those things that you feel the skill that it takes. You feel what you are doing differently than the guy who's got all the experience, and you want to learn it.
Right. And you mentioned you went vintage fast. I can tell you, and you saw the vintage heat later on in the day yesterday.
Yes.
You can tell when they start going because all of a sudden that rooster tail starts to really get low and long and lean. And some of the pictures there didn't really show you really getting on it and getting some speed, but you did get some good speed. It had to be a lot of fun.
It was an absolute blast. So thank you for your part in convincing me to do that. I know I sound like, I'm just afraid of everything, but I've been a passenger in some stuff, and rarely does it turn out as well as it did yesterday. So no, very happy about the experience. I'll never forget it.
I'm just hoping, I mean, it had to be better than a golf cart.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
Jim here from Strong Racing driving me in a golf cart. Anything over about 3.5 miles an hour felt like suicide. So, but right at about 3 miles an hour was the limit, and it was scary enough. We almost hit some kids in the parade at 3 miles an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, but no, sorry, Jim. You're a great driver.
Just stay out of the golf cart.
Don't drive a golf cart. No, that was incredible. What a great opportunity. The museum, the hydroplane museum actually auctions those rides off. And that's one of the ways that they make money for the museum. Incredibly successful, and I can see why. It's an amazing experience that's provided to anybody who's willing to donate to the museum. So go do it. It's incredible.
Yeah, donating to the museum is not just donating money. You can donate your time. That's how I got involved in it a number of years ago. Donated my time, met a great group of people, some friends I call some of my dearest friends today, and it all wound up with a ride like you got. And it was something, as a fan of this sport, I'm glad you got to do it, and I'm glad you had fun. So
Thank you, sir.
It helps you. And it's interesting, quite honestly, from me, to hear you talk about the boat in the corner and how it slides through the corner, and then the prop finally catches a little bit, and away you go, and you can kind of drive around the turn. When I drove a smaller boat one time, I was having a terrible time in the corner, and somebody said, just let it slide and then give it some more gas. Go faster. That'll lift the rear end up out of the water as the prop comes up, and then you'll be able to carve through the corner and go. And that's kind of counterintuitive, but once you do it and you find out that it works, I'm glad you had a good time. And then what a great piece of equipment, the Miss Wahoo.
That was amazing.
It's a really good one. So I think we are going to step away and take a quick break here before we get talking about our Grand Prix hydroplanes, because Grand Prix boats are up next on the water, and we're going to go racing, and we're going to have our Heat 1 with 6 Grand Prix boats. It's going to be fun. You and I are going to be on the call, and then we're all building toward H1 Unlimited. The APBA Gold Cup's on the line. Tanner Faust, Brad Luce. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Much more to come here on the H1 Unlimited YouTube network. Okay. And hello again, race fans. Welcome back to the start-finish line here on the Columbia River. It's the 115th running of the APBA Gold Cup, but right now it is time to go Grand Prix racing, and we are getting very close to the 5-minute countdown period to our first heat of our Grand Prix. And for the story on that, let's go down to Brent Hall. He's dockside in the Neil F. Lampson pits. Brent, take it away.
This is Brent Hall with H1 Unlimited. We are about to hear a whole bunch of noise coming. The GPs are really close to that 5-minute mark. They're going to go out, shake it all up, and you just wait. Tri-Cities, we've been waiting for this for a long time. Here it comes. Let's go GPs.
Thank you very much, Brent Hall, for your commentary down there on the dock, and it's going to get real loud where Brent is down there right now because 6 Grand Prix hydroplanes are going to come away from the dock and come out here on their 1 2/3 course where they're going to run 3 times around in this Grand Prix Heat 1. And let's take a look at that rundown for our heat. We've got 6 boats slated to come out, and they are coming away from the dock right now. They are coming out onto the race course. Let's take a look at the boats that'll be in the heat and the lanes into which they will race. We are going to have in lane number 1, Jeff Bernard in the GP79. It is black, it is red, trimmed in some orange. It is our top qualifier. Jeff Bernard will be in lane 1. Then it's going to be Greg Hopp in the GP15. GP15, a low-profile yellow boat. That'll be the Old Trapper Beef Jerky second fastest qualifier, Greg Hopp. Then it's going to be the GP17 with Austin Ekrit. He will be in lane number 3. Lane number 4 will go to John Shaw in the Cool Cat Motorsports. That's GP135. It's a black hydroplane, very low profile. Good. It's the GP10 in lane number 5 with Kevin Ekrit, a boat they call the Freak, and that will be in our lane number 5. Lane number 6 will go to Josh Harnick in GP12. So he'll be on the far outside. We're going to run on a clock start. And you see on the screen now we have 3 minutes and 40 seconds, 3:40 to the start. It's a 1 2/3 race course. We are going to go around 3 times. We're going to put 5 miles in the books on this one. You're looking right there at GP79 with Jeff Bernard, young man out of Covington, Washington, behind the wheel. 3 minutes and 20 seconds to the start of our first heat of Grand Prix racing. We're going to follow up our Grand Prix hydroplanes with the H1 Unlimited boats. Coming off the top end of the race course, here comes Josh Harnick, but you're seeing Austin Ekrit coming away from the pit area. There is Josh Harnick coming across the line in the bright yellow GP12. He is on the outside right now, and he is going to start on the far outside. It is assigned lanes in our Grand Prix class, and you basically throughout the weekend, you win your way in. You want to win your way in to an inside lane for that final. One of our drones there just pulling right over the top of Josh Harnick in that beautifully newly painted and color design on that GP12. Boat looks really, really good running up the back chute. And you see Josh is going to encounter other boats within the field. Coming up on 2:20 to the start. It's Grand Prix America. It is our heat number 1. Jeff Bernard with a timing run. And you'll see them do their timing runs when they come out for their heat. And you just had 2 more happen right behind them. They all come off the top end of the race course. When they get to the exit pin, they give it a squirt, shoot down to the start-finish line. They time it. Another one just occurred with Josh Harnick, and there is there's 5 of our 6 boats, and it looks like we're losing one. I'm going to believe that is the GP135 Cool Cat Motorsports and John Shaw. He came by the start-finish line very slowly, so I think we may have lost him. And I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rooster tails on the screen there coming up on 1:30. You ride along right there with Kevin Ekrit in the GP12. Boat they call the Freak. Off to his left there is Austin Ekrit in the GP7. Water conditions here are very good. We've had a little bit of a breeze come up this afternoon. I'm looking at the flag on top of the bridge, and it's holding out there pretty solid. But I think down on the water, I think we're still okay. That's Harnack coming by on the outside, watching him there. Kevin Akert on the inside of him in that GP10 with that very distinctive air scoop. So now the next time they come by, we will be racing inside 50 seconds, inside 45, coming up on 40 seconds to the start of Heat 1 Grand Prix America at the 2025 APBA Gold Cup in the 60th Water Follies here in the Tri-Cities of Washington. That low-profile yellow boat that is out front right now, that is Greg Hopp in the GP15, the old Trapper Beef Jerky. He's going to be running in lane number 2. You see behind him is the orange and black of Jeff Bernard. He almost drifted off the screen there. And now they're up at the top end of the race course. The idea now, put your boat at the start-finish line when the clock strikes 0. You've got an assigned lane. It should be there when you come around the corner. We're only going to have 4 of them come down together. We're 4 seconds, 3, 2, 1. Mark, I don't know. We may have had a gun jump there, but I don't know how accurate my clock is. But meanwhile, Bernard's going to get down to the lower corner first. GP79 is going to get down there. He's got Harnack with him, but Harnack's way on the outside, and Hopp is in between boats. So it's Bernard with the 2 yellow boats coming off the exit pin. Bernard with the lane advantage. He'll come up the back chute. Jeff Bernard, GP79, atomic. I am having it told in my ear, positions number 1, 2, and 3 have all jumped. It is Austin Akert, awesome Austin Akert, running in 4th position in the GP17. He is your official leader. We thought we had some gun jumpers, and indeed we did. Your leader coming down, leader on the water is Jeff Bernard, but it's not him. It's not Greg Hopp. And I've lost Josh Harnack somewhere on the water, but here comes your leader. There he is, the GP17, Austin Akert. He has got 1 in the books. He is on lap number 2. Oh boy, what a turn of events here in our first heat. Josh Harnack has dropped down dead in the water. He is halfway up the backstretch. I see him on the far side. We lost John Shaw in the Cool Cat Motorsports. He went back to the pit area, but there's your leader. And I'm sitting right next to Tanner Faust. Tanner, one thing we always say about you can be the fastest boat on the water, but if you're not legal, it doesn't do you any good. He's smiling and nodding his head. You gotta be legal before you can be fast. Bernard, now let's take a look at this field. Bernard is running in 3rd position. Hopp's trying to run him down in 4th. But you're looking at our leader as he puts 2 in the book. Now, the race here is going to be with Jeff Bernard coming off the lower corner. He is a lap down to Kevin Akert, who is entering the top end of the race course. Bernard's trying to run down Akert at the top end and try and get a lap caught back and get into 2nd place. Meanwhile, our leader, that's him on the right side of the screen, coming off the exit pin in the powder blue and white GP17, Miss Renee, awesome Austin Akert. Having a good run, and I'll tell you what, Kevin Akert does not sound good in the GP10 as he comes across the line. Bernard is smelling him. He's got 1 more lap to go get him. Bernard's got to catch him. Meanwhile, we'll keep the camera on our leader, Austin Akert. He's going to come down and pick up a first heat victory and a great way to start his Columbia Cup weekend. He comes outside the wake of the other boats. Checkered flag flies for awesome Austin Akert in the GP17. A very, very good run. One of the questions I know they're going to want to ask him about when they get down to the pit area, that is going to be how hard is it for Austin Akert as he has just gone dead in the water. So Brent Hall, if you can hear me down there, I don't think Austin's going to make it back. He's already popped the lid. So he is down in the water. Here comes our 2nd place finisher. By virtue of the gun jumping to our 2 leaders, we're going to have Kevin Akert come across the line in the GP10. Now Austin Akert fires up the GP17. I saw him pop the lid, so I figured he was throwing in the towel on that, but he is coming back. And you've got to be legal before you can be fast. And the fun question of Austin is going to be, you got 3 boats out in front of you, and they're way out in front of you. How hard was it for Austin to stay back and go, they've got to be early. I know my timing marks are good. And he stayed true to his own timing marks, and indeed, he will come home with the victory. Wow, good racing. First heat. of Grand Prix America. And Brent, I know you're anxious for Austin Eckert to get back to the dock, but hey, well, here he goes. He's going to try and push this thing over to you a little bit quicker. But good racing. Good racing indeed in our Grand Prix America heat number 1. Now, I mentioned that these boats run with their assigned lanes. What happens now is they're going to take that same field and they're going to invert it. So we've already had our draw. It's not really a draw, if you will, for Grand Prix. But now when we go to our Grand Prix Heat 2, it's going to be the boats that were on the outside, Josh Harnack and Kevin Eckert. They are going to move to the 2 inside lanes. So they are going to have the premier lanes in the next heat. And Jeff Bernard is going to move from lane 1 to lane 6. And that's a tall order. Jeff Bernard will do everything possible to be up to the task as we see Austin Eckert kind of interacting, I think, a little bit with the fans. There he is. He's giving a wave. Give it up for him because he's out of the cockpit there. He can certainly hear you. Young man out of the Pacific Northwest and just a delightful youngster. And I probably end up, before the weekend's over, saying that about pretty much everybody involved in our sport, regardless of the level. Everybody is very open, approachable, and accommodating in hydroplane racing. There's a happy Austin Eckert waving to the fans there. So the GP17, Miss Renee, the boat is owned by Brian Richards out of Snohomish, Washington. Driven, as I said, by awesome Austin Eckert. And Mr. Eckert can now tell you exactly what the temperature of the water is. As he went down, it kind of cooled himself off a little bit. But he's still got a long way to go to get to the dock. So next up, you're looking at our schedule on the screen as it's scrolling by thanks to the H1 ticker. I know we have our Heat 1A coming up at 2:30, I believe. I believe 2:30 is the start time for Heat 1A for our H1 Unlimiteds, and maybe this would be a good opportunity while we wait for Austin to get back to the dock. Take this opportunity to talk a little bit about our H1 Unlimited hydroplanes that are going to come out here and begin the quest for the 115th running of the APBA Gold Cup. We've talked when Tanner and I were on the pipes. Ooh, and you look down there, going to be coming pretty quick. Looking, there is our field for Heat 1A of the 2025 APBA Gold Cup. The boats are in the water. Right to left, you see the gold boat there, the gold trimmed in white. That's our top qualifier. That is Andrew Tate. Andrew toured the Columbia River with a 2-lap average of 164.647 miles per hour. Our second fastest qualifier was the third boat from the right, the white one there on the dock. That is Corey Peabody's Beacon Plumbing, the U9. He checked in with a qualifying speed of 161.703. Between those two boats, you see the blue and white Miss Apollo, Super Dave Villwock behind the wheel of that one. That is the U27. He checked in a tenth of a mile an hour slower than Corey Peabody, 161.603. And then rounding out our 4-boat field here for Heat 1A of the 2025 APBA Gold Cup, it's the bright red U8, the Beacon Electric, and J. Michael Kelly. So now the anticipation begins for the big dogs, the world's fastest race boats. And they are going to come out here with a vengeance. And just reminding you, our fans, this is a full H1 Unlimited Gold Cup format. Normally, when we are in Guntersville, when we are in Madison, when we are in Seattle next week, we will run our preliminary heats with 3 laps per. This is the Gold Cup. We go 4 times around. It is more of an endurance race. I see our Brent Hall was walking on the dock there, so I'm not sure exactly where Mr. Hall is going or where they are going to take. I'm not sure where the GP17 pitted. I'm going to assume, I'm seeing him getting towed here. I'm assuming, yeah, it appears now they're going to take him down to the lower dock. So apparently, and I'm just trying to remember, I walked through the pit area a couple of times. I believe he is pitted on the lower docks. As you saw from some of the drone stuff there, there's 2 docks. There's a shorter dock up the river toward us here at start finish, and then the long, quote-unquote, unlimited dock is the one to the east end of the pit area. And there you see on the right side, right up in the upper right corner, you see that, that little dock there. That's the shorter dock, but he is going to get, now there's a great look there. You can see Greg Hopp's boat in the lower right corner. He is on that upper dock. That's the yellow Grand Prix boat. And then you see the 4 H1 Unlimiteds on the long dock there, and they are going to take, they will take Awesome Austin down to that other dock, and now it looks like maybe not. They may be rethinking that because they may want to bring our H1 Unlimited boats out here on the water. I'm just wondering if that's not the thought process that's going on down there, because now it looks like they are turning that rescue boat around, and they're going to pull Austin Egret to that upper dock, and I think that's probably going to be so they can facilitate the starting of our Heat 1A for our H1 Unlimited hydroplanes. Great view there from the drone of our pit area here on the Columbia River. An absolutely gorgeous day. The weather is perfect. We got a few wispy clouds up above us, but the wind right now is cooperating beautifully. Water conditions are outstanding, and 4 of the world's fastest race boats are about to come out and join us and stir it up. So I do not have a clock up and running right now, but I am aware and advised that we are inside 5 minutes to the 5-minute mark. And at the 5-minute mark, that's when the boats can come out on the H1 Unlimited race course. And that is when they will begin what we call the milling period. And that's where they fight for lanes, because it is a fight for lanes format in our H1 Unlimited class. So it's getting close. It's about to happen, race fans. The 2025 115th running of the APBA Gold Cup is about to get underway with some serious heat racing. And there we've got the clock on the screen. We are indeed inside 5 to the 5. We are inside 9 minutes. Inside 9 minutes to the start. I've got Tanner Faust coming over here. He's going to get wired up. And he and I are about to have some fun, because we're going to go 4 times around this 2.5-mile race course with 4 of the fastest boats in the world and our top 4 qualifiers. And you all strapped in over there, Mr. Faust?
I sure am. This is going to be a pretty, this is going to, I mean, okay, I don't want to build it up too much, you know. Low expectations, the key to happiness. It's a sad but true, but man, I got a feeling this race is going to be pretty insane.
It could very well be. These guys are all very, very competitive, and we've been talking about, you know, there's just not that much racing left in the season. We have 3 races here to garner points and crown a national high points champion. And so, but the other side of the coin is, as you and I talked earlier, you cannot win the Gold Cup here in Heat 1A, but you can sure lose it if you make a big mistake and tear up your boat.
Sure. So if we take a look, some of the boats in here, we got J. Michael Kelly here on the screen right now under the umbrella. New engine. Talking about prop issues earlier. This is an opportunity for him. You know, he'd found some fueling issues in the past. They've replaced that carburetor unit. So he's looking for some more speed than he showed in qualifying, and potentially sticking it to his teammate, although there are some team orders to survive.
Yeah, there are some team orders to survive, and J. Michael Kelly, to our fans, will remember that boat got unfortunately upside down here last year at the Columbia Cup on the first heat of the weekend. Also in this heat, we're going to have our U9. Talking about J. Michael Kelly's teammate, that is Corey Peabody. So we're coming up on 2 minutes to the 5-minute mark, and at the 5-minute mark, those boats will depart the pit area and come out. We will get a shot here of our U9 and Corey Peabody.
Now, he has quite the record here. You mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, he started driving for Strong Racing. He joined that team in 2020, and since he finished in 7th place, as you're looking at the boat right there, there is the U9 Beacon Plumbing. Corey Peabody, the driver, and you'll get a look here at the young man. And there is Corey, probably one of the most intense guys when he gets behind the wheel. But since 2019, he has never raced and lost on the Columbia River. People out there might be going, well, he didn't win in 2022. No, he did not. But if you remember, he blew his boat over in Madison. He didn't compete that year. So a little bit of an asterisk there. But he has had some great luck here on the Columbia. And both of those boats run for Strong Racing. Now, our other two boats, they come from the stables of BWR Racing, that being Bruce Ratchford. Keeping an eye on that clock up there. Things are going to happen very quickly, and then we're going to be out here the race before the race. There is the U-27, the Miss Apollo. Dave Villwock will drive that one. This is the backup boat, and Dave Villwock, backup boat or not, it's looked really good out here for the last couple of days. Dave Villwock is the winningest driver in the history of H1 Unlimited. He's got 10 Gold Cups.
10 Gold Cups, and the short, in the short experience I have with this racing, Dave is never disappointed on the build-up to the start. He seems like he'll go to no end. He's set up to take.
If that's what he is set up to take, and that's the other thing too. You set your boat up maybe for one particular line, and then we're fighting for lanes. Maybe you don't get that lane, then you find yourself in a lane that you're really not geared for, and that doesn't usually work out that well. You're looking at the fourth boat there in our field. It is the U-91, the Goodman Real Estate. It is black. It is gold. It is driven by Andrew Tate as we are now inside 5 minutes to the start of our Heat 1A. He's the guy everybody's shooting at, I guess, Tanner. He was a top qualifier. He's our Indiana Governor's Cup champion. Everybody wants to take him down a notch right now.
He absolutely has the target on his back, and he made that even more so apparent when he blew everybody out of the water in qualifying with his average speed. Several miles an hour faster than the next taker. So he's definitely got the top speed and will have his eye on a specific lane. Whether that means the outside lane, we're about to find out.
So our boats are out on the race course at the 4-minute and 10-second mark. You see up the backstretch there, it is Andrew Tate, and he is right alongside Corey Peabody. Expect to see a lot of that this weekend, and it starts right now with our Heat 1A. For those of you who are new to our sport, and Tanner, we went through our start procedure. We went through our start procedure before we got real busy here, and it is all about a clock start. 3 minutes and 43 seconds until the start. You want to have your boat on the start-finish line when that clock strikes 0. But between now and then, these boats are jockeying for position on the race course and what lane they will be. Keep an eye on Corey Peabody here and see if he doesn't make a left-hand turn, but Andrew might block him by going left himself, and there goes Corey. Corey takes the left right there. Great job on the camera work, guys. They picked up on that. Corey cut the course to get to the inside of Andrew Tate. Andrew was to the left of Corey. Corey slowed down, made a legal maneuver, and jumped to the inside lane. Now, way up at the top end of the race course is J. Michael Kelly, but we kind of saw some of this morning. Dave Villwock, there he is on the right-hand side of the screen. He is just barely moving up the backstretch. So his strategy here is to go very, very slow. Now, the next piece of our start procedure here is the boats have to stay behind the start-finish line at 1 minute and 15 seconds. We call that the score-up buoy. You must be behind the start-finish line where our boats are approaching right now at 1 minute and 15 seconds. So look for our boats to cut the course again and get over to the backside. This is very reminiscent of what we had in Guntersville. Very reminiscent of Guntersville when the boats were all jockeying to get their lanes. And when they came off the lower corner, they were going to find Dave Villwock sitting in lane number 1. He is sitting there again. So Dave Villwock is sitting in lane number 1 up at the top end of the race course. Keep an eye on the clock. We are at 1:55. We're at 1:55. Remember, they have to stay behind the start-finish line at the 1 minute 15 second mark. So everybody's good. Here comes Dave now. Dave is going to accelerate. He's in great shape because we are at 1:40 before the start. Tanner Faust, I know you can hear me up there at the top end of the race course. Dave Villwock did a very similar maneuver to what we saw in Guntersville. He was just crawling up the backstretch.
Yeah, he's done that move before. It actually worked for him. I mean, it didn't pay off in the long run, but it worked for him to get the inside lane. We'll see if that works out today.
Okay, so now they're coming down 120. They got to be behind the start-finish line at 1:15. They're going to be legal. This is a legal score-up. This is not the start. And look at J. Michael Kelly. He is way behind the field. Mike is up at the top end of the race course, so I don't know what Mike is doing. I'm not sure if he is having a problem or not, but unfortunately, J. Michael Kelly is not with our leaders as they go down to the bottom end of the race course. That was not the start, but it is Dave Villwock in lane number 1. It's Corey Peabody in lane number 2, and it is Andrew Tate in lane number 3. J. Michael Kelly must go all the way down to the bottom end of the race course. Now, up the backstretch, our boats can still change lanes if they have a 5 boat length overlap, but that's not going to happen because you can see how close they are. When they get to the entrance pin of turn 2 at the top end, whatever lane they are in at that time, that's the lane they must start in. And our spotters here to my right are telling other boats that here comes Andrew Tate. He's coming with a lot of speed on the outside. Tate's going to be on the outside, but he's going to have a lot of boat speed. Going to be Villwock in 1, Peabody in 2. Andrew Tate's going to be on the outside. It's time to start the 115th running of the APBA Gold Cup. We are 3, 2, 1. Mark. Andrew Tate's going to break the clock from lane number 3. Then Peabody was across in second place. He is in the middle lane. Villwock is back a couple of boat lengths, and he is on the inside. It is a clean start down to the bottom end of the race course. Who's going to get down there first? It is Peabody. Peabody in lane number 2 is going to have the lead, but I can tell you, Andrew Tate is right with him. Villwock is still in the hunt on the inside, and there's Andrew. Andrew and Corey are side by side up the backstretch. Look at him. It looks like one boat there, but it's really 2. Tanner, this is as good as it gets.
This is absolutely amazing. On the outside, you can see all the boat lifting from Andrew Tate as he's maximizing the speed there going into the wind, the fastest part of the racetrack, trying to use the speed he had in qualifying. Corey Peabody just won't let it happen.
Oh, and Dave's getting wet up there in the corner. Dave could not hold his line through the corner. He went wet going through the rooster tail of Corey Peabody, but he is still going. The race is out front. We're going to put the first one in the books, and remember, we go 4 times around. Peabody, he's got about 4 boat lengths right now on Andrew Tate. And I'll tell you what, Tanner, Corey Peabody is showing a lot of speed.
He sure is. We didn't think that we had it in that boat, you know, with Andrew showing his qualifying speed. Not sure what's happening to J. Michael Kelly. It's just unfortunate, but he's making his way around. And, of course, we have Dave still in the running after going through both rooster tails.
Yeah, I think you will watch Dave Villwock discretion the better part of hour. He'll take those 3rd place points, but our race is still out front. Corey Peabody, he's only got about 5, maybe 6 boat lengths on Andrew Tate, and Tate is staying right in that right side rear view mirror. This is a good run down the backstretch, and we are on lap number 2 of 4. They're going to incur and come up upon J. Michael Kelly, but J. Michael Kelly, Tanner, is yielding to him. He's going way to the outside.
Yeah, he sure is, and Andrew Tate is getting a push, really not as wide as I would have thought. I thought Corey might have been driven him a little bit wider there, but it looks like super clean racing here so far.
Yeah, it is. It looks really good so far. And right now, it is Corey Peabody, and he is opening up a little bit of water on each turn from Andrew Tate. He's moving out a little bit on him, and at some point, you're going to wonder, where does Andrew Tate say, all right, you got me in this one. Remember what Tanner and I said. You can't win the Gold Cup here, but you could sure lose it. I'll tell you what, Tate closed down in that lower corner. He got a little bit tighter to Corey. He's back within about 6 boat lengths. This one's still not over, Tanner. This is a good one.
No, it sure isn't. He is gaining on the back straightaway. Again, this is into the wind and the fastest part of the course. It's where we've had blowovers and testing. So it's a place that just have to be a little bit careful, but both of them really floating the boat out of the water more than we saw in qualifying even.
Corey Peabody sending a bit of a message here that I've got a lot of boat speed here, and if I get inside of you, you're going to have your hands full trying to get around me. Peabody's going to come down. He's going to pick up a white flag, meaning 1 more to go. Tate doesn't want to let him go. He's going to try and stay in that right side mirror. I don't know if he is going to. I think he's actually closer to time, but I think Corey knows right where he is.
Well, Corey ran him just a little bit wide on the entrance into this downriver part, and this is as close as Tate has been in a while, like you said. But Tate now is stuck in the ripple of the previous lap. That may back him down coming onto the back straightaway.
And you're exactly right, Tanner, and he was stuck in the ripple of that previous lap because Corey ran him right into it. Corey's telling him, right where he wants him to drive, and the spotters are telling Corey where to shove Andrew. That's just good driving. But I'll tell you what, here comes Andrew. Andrew is closing at the top end of the race course. He's pulled up to about 4 boat lengths behind Corey Peabody, and this is the final lap. This is for the checkered flag. There's Corey. Where is Andrew? There he is. I think he's going to run out of real estate. I think Corey Peabody has got him. Heat 1A of the 2025 APBA Gold Cup will go to Corey Peabody. Second place will go to Andrew Tate in the Goodman Real Estate. Wow. Our third place boat is entering the corner at the top end of the race course. You see it on the screen up there. That is Dave Villwock. Dave Villwock in the U27, the Miss Apollo. He was with the boys. He was in the middle of that heat from an inside lane until he couldn't hold his lane at the top end of the race course, slid out, got into Corey Peabody's rooster tail. The good news there was it put the fire out for a moment, but it did not put the boat out. He was able to keep going, and he just came home with a third place finish. J. Michael Kelly will come down right now, and just going to check on the flag here. There, got one more lap to go. Don't know what happened to Mike there, Tanner. When they came down for the score up, he just wasn't there. He's obviously having some sort of an issue.
Yeah, they've been making changes to that boat, and it's not like they can just drop it in the water and test it. You know, they try to dry start it and try to run it, but that's without load when it's sitting on the boat dock, so, or when it's sitting on the trailer. So it's unfortunate. He gets in there, you could tell right off the bat that he knew something was wrong, and that was his race done before it ever started.
There, Mr. Faust. That was a little bit of a boat race.
That's
great. Better. That's what we're looking to do out here. Get a couple of them and hook them up.
I mean, he was inside the rooster tail the whole time, which I haven't seen that yet. That was awesome. He even made it a little thrilling at the end there, pushing the limit on that back straightaway. It makes me nervous watching it because I've seen a couple boats go over there, especially as the wind starts kicking up like it's doing now. They're coming out of the fastest corner down by the bridge, so they have the most speed onto the straightaway, and then they get that headwind at the end of that straightaway, and it's just a recipe for disaster at 196 miles an hour.
So that was Heat 1A. We've got 4 heats to go this afternoon, and that was the first one, and it did not disappoint. I just feel bad for J. Michael Kelly, but this is very important for him as Kelly comes across start finish right now, and no, he's not happy with things, but he did get his 4th place point, and that is important. You don't want to come out of here with a DNF. You just want to keep scoring points, because especially with all of these preliminary heats, the name of the game in unlimited hydroplane racing is score enough points to get on the front row of the final, because once we go racing on the front row of the final heat, we go 5 times around this course, and it is a winner take all final. So our boats are returning to the dock. You see Corey Peabody in the U9. He's back. I'm sure he feels very good about that. I made the comment that, and we heard him talking to our Erica Allreed. He's very focused. He has good luck on this river, but he, I think, was very disappointed in his own personal performance in the final heat at Madison, Indiana. In fact, I know darn well he was not happy about it, and this particular race, this particular day, could not get here quick enough for him, because he wanted to go out and redeem himself, and he wants to do a whole lot more than just win Heat 1A of the racing here. He wants to win the event, and that's going to come up tomorrow afternoon. But he's certainly off to a good start, assuming that everything is clean, and until we hear something from the officials, we will assume it is and was. So there we go. Well, we just got a hello there from Mr. Ratchford, who just watched his boat that is an absolute rocket take a 2nd place to Corey Peabody. So look at it, Bruce Ratchford down there. He's smiling. He's having a good time, because you're enjoying having a Gold Cup in your river, aren't you? Yes, he is. Bruce Ratchford, very instrumental in Hydrotown and the leadership organization of this entire sport. And he is here with 2 of the U91 and the U27. So Mr. Ratchford picked himself up a 2nd and a 3rd place in that one. So Tanner Faust, you have now kind of moved your way out here come up, feel like Bob Euchre here, right? I'm kind of in the front row.
Your water side, no, I like it.
Oh, this is the only place. Sorry we had to do that way, but we've got it.
That was great. Now, you know, to be honest, this is the choppiest water, if that's a valid term that you can use, but it's the choppiest water we've seen so far in the last 2.5 days. And is that just a function of this is the windiest day, or is it just because we're packing a lot of racing into a short amount of time?
Yeah, I think what we're seeing here is residual from the boats being on the water.
Okay.
Because you're going to get wakes from all the way over on the other side. We had boats out here for, I don't know, 15 minutes, 12, 15 minutes, and sometimes they were fast, sometimes they were slow. I think that's what we're seeing. It is a little rougher here right now, but actually I like the water right now. Yeah, I'd like it to lay down a little bit. We got a few white caps coming this way, but I don't think it's wind. I'm not feeling that much wind. I think it's just the waves themselves. As our fans looking on the screen there, get a great look on the left there. You see Bernie's tree down there right off the sponsons there of the U9, the Beacon Plumbing. And we are just waiting here for our intrepid pit reporters to jump in here that they've got Corey Peabody or somebody to talk to. And there, we've got the first one up, out, and done. Now I can kind of take a little bit of a breath and relax a little bit. We got a lot more racing to go, but the first one's done. Now we just start stacking them together. And as you and I've talked many times, from here on forward, it is just points, points, points. Just keep stacking them up.
And that qualifying, I mean, it's a little misnomer calling it qualifying even. It's almost just a timed practice that has a couple of points associated with it because you're still drawing the heats out of a hat, who you're up against, and the number of points compared to the heat points is extreme. I mean, you're only fighting for 10 or 100 points here or there, where you get into the heats and it's hundreds between places. So that was very, very valuable for Corey as he makes his gallant attempt to come back from a pretty difficult beginning of the season.
Yeah, he just had a rough go, and he'll be the first to tell you. I mean, and at some point there is such a thing as just having a bad weekend and some bad luck, and we've talked about it in boat racing for so many times. A boat can run so good in Guntersville, Alabama. You drive up to Madison the next weekend, and you can't get the thing to get out of its own way. Sometimes the gremlins just jump on your boat.
Yep, and that is real unfortunate with J. Michael Kelly. You know, he's here running a couple boats. He's got to fill in for his son in one boat as his son is out competing, I think winning a national championship out east, and to have it just not go your way after all that kind of build up and all that work is difficult, but they'll get that turned around, I have no doubt, and there's still a lot of points on the table, not just today, but today and tomorrow moving forward.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've got a good idea what you do for a living and the active life you have. I was a sales guy, so somewhere in my DNA there's the eternal optimist. And I would look at J. Michael Kelly, and as Chip Hanauer said, if you're going to have a bad heat, don't make it the last one, make it the first one. So get that out of the way. I think, Tanner, we have an opportunity now to go down to the dock to our Erica Allreed, and hope she is standing by, maybe with Corey Peabody. Erica, take it away.
Corey, you mentioned to me earlier that your success here on the Columbia River comes down to being in the right spot at the right time, a balance of both luck and strategy. Were those the same keys to this heat? Because you were really able to shine.
Yeah, it's kind of cat and mouse there in the beginning with me and Andrew, just kind of squirting up next to each other. And then, at some point we have to break off and do our own thing. So it worked out for us this time. That was a hell of a heat. Dave and Andrew and Mike, they're all fast boats. So for us, that's a heat you don't want to draw, but for the fans, I'm glad they got to see that. That was a good time. Andrew coming from behind like that, trying to run me down, and just it was a good race. Let's just say that.
Absolutely. And talk me through that game of defense you had to play, because you were pushing for the entirety of that race.
Yeah, I mean, they're super fast, so we have to do what we got to do to just stay out in front of them. With this Gold Cup format, we have an extra lap on there, so the water's rough as shit. Sorry to say it, but that's what it is. I'm just giving you the facts here. That extra lap really churns it up. It's more like a final because you got 4 laps instead of 3. So, I mean, we all got to go through it, every one of us. I know Andrew's going to be hunting me down now that if we got this win over him. So we're just going to do what we do, go to the data truck, check everything out, see if we can make any improvements, and we'll go from there.
A well-deserved victory. Congratulations, Corey.
All right, thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Erica Allreed, and thank you for Corey Peabody. He's down there in that all-black driver suit. That's got to be a little toasty. But you saw the obligatory bottle of water in the left hand there. That's critical.
I sure did. And, you know, I couldn't quite hear all of that interview, but he's pretty nice, I think. I mean, he was kind of apologizing for putting some elbows out in the last lap because he knew how quick Tate's boat is and how he could have been coming back from behind, but it sure looked pretty clean to me. I mean, it didn't really look like he pushed him out into rough water, maybe once, but looked like a good run. And Tate did show some speed right at the very end, but you know, they both were on the same water there, so I think it was a good race.
Well, and that's the benefit of being out front. You dictate the race course at that point. And if you are behind and on the inside of somebody, you suddenly are getting dictated to. Somebody's going to hold you into that lane and make you scruff off speed and hold that lane one. We saw Dave Villwock. It looked like he slid out. I don't know, maybe couldn't hold the lane. We don't know quite what happened up there, but that's the luxury of being out front. You suddenly control the race course, and Corey knows how to do that as well as anybody. But just like that, we're ready to go on to the next heat. That one's in the books. I do want to remind our fans that just like qualifying, our boats have to go through tech inspection. So Corey Peabody was the winner on the water, and we will wait to hear from the officials. They now take the data acquisition boxes, take them out of the boat, and they get them up in the order of the finish on the water. So our Seth Partial down there will get into those boxes and quickly tell us that, yep, Corey's been confirmed as a winner, and then we'll put 400 points by his name. Now, we talked yesterday, Corey lost, what did he lose? He lost 20 points to Andrew Tate yesterday in qualifying. He just got 100 back, so he feels better.
Yeah, these heats are worth a lot, and now that I'm thinking about it, you may be right. It probably was Corey apologizing to Dave maybe for cutting that inside line a little bit tight as we went into lap 3. But moving on to heat 2, this is a lot of evenly matched boats in this one as well. We talked about it in qualifying. They may not have had the same, top speed that the boats in this first heat had. They may have been a few miles an hour slower. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're any less racy when it comes to race trim, though, right? Because they could just be geared lower, geared for rougher water, geared for the inside lane. Maybe that didn't translate to top speed, but it could make for a good race boat.
And we've got boats out here, especially in that previous heat, that are trying to drive for national high points. But as the weekend goes on, don't ever think for a minute that we might not have somebody out here playing possum. You just never know what somebody may be doing. Now, that was a first heat of the weekend, and we got 4 prelims before we see a final. But you never know. You got to keep that one in the back of your mind. But as we look at our Heat 1B that is coming up here very shortly, we only have 3 boats going. But to your point, Tanner, the boats are very evenly packed. We have the U11, the Miss Flav-R-Pac, the boat owned by Scott and Shannon Rainey. It is driven by Jamie Nilsen. The boat is U11. We will now, I think we're going to take a look here. Coming up on the screen, you may see the U12, the Graham Trucking. There it is, and you see the Flav-R-Pac there behind it. There's the blue and the yellow I spoke of. But there is the U12, the Graham Trucking. This boat has not been in the water for basically a year. It was this race a year ago, and that was crew chief Tom Anderson that just walked right in front of us, so he is very much keeping an eye on this boat. He has teamed up 3 times in the past with his driver Jeff Bernard and this boat for victories. I look for them to maybe be the surprise of this heat. The boat hasn't run in a year. Keep an eye on this one. It may be very, very fast.
Well, in our little side pool, that is my pick.
Aha!
That I have on this. It's and there are a lot of complicated rules with that side pool, and you don't get your pick. Didn't get to pick first, but Jeff is who I picked. And then finally, we've got U21, Gunnar O'Farrell, local, right? He's from
the northwest. He's on the other side of the mountains.
Okay, just on the other side of the mountains. But he was in testing. He was the boat and the driver that on the fast part of the back straightaway had an incredibly fast blow over 196 miles an hour, went upside down. Talked about how his rebuild process unfortunately couldn't come. He got that done, but he's certainly a hopeful in getting faster and faster every lap.
And you are looking there at the U11, the Flav-R-Pac, the Miss Flav-R-Pac. Boat owner Shannon Rainey was on the deck of the boat there behind the cockpit, and you see all those brightly colored umbrellas. It gets hot in that cockpit, and I probably don't have to tell you that was a black driver's suit you had yesterday, and even though it was open air, I'm sure it was more than slightly warm. So all of the boats will as comfortable as possible before they go out on the race course, which is going to happen inside of 2 minutes because we're 6:50 to the start of our H1 Unlimited Heat 1B. You see 2 of our 3 boats right there. Our third is just to the right. It is a predominantly white boat. It is the U-21. You spoke to it, Gunnar. It's the Spirit of America, driven by the youngster Gunnar O'Farrell out of Maple Valley, Washington. So this is the calm before the storm.
Another minute and a half. It sure would be tempting, since your race course is the perfect 76-degree water, clear as can be. It would be tempting just to jump in after every race.
Yes, it would. Now, the officials have something to say about that, but with that, you were just saying in a perfect world. So coming up on what we call 1 to the 5, 1 to the 5, 2, 1, mark, 1 to the 5. So there you see the U-21, the Spirit of America with Gunnar O'Farrell. And you're going to see the lids come down here pretty quick. We've got 2 of our radio guys right here in front of us. We got Ben Dowell right in front of us with the Flav-R-Pac, and we've got Crew Chief Tom Anderson here with the U-12 Graham Trucking. Coming up on 30 seconds to the 5. 30 seconds to the 5. Interesting note, because of this Fight for Lanes format, some of the times the drivers, they've been accusing the others of spooling up the boats a little early and jumping off the dock a little early to try and get off to the left and maybe get an inside shot on somebody. So a year ago, we came up with a new rule. You have to have a crew member with physical contact to the boat at the 5-minute mark. So the boat can be moving, but you got to be touching it.
It is a question that I had. Can you start it and hold it?
No.
Okay, so you literally cannot have it.
You can't sit in neutral. You can spool it up, and once it starts to spool and you engage, it's going. And so you got to kind of time that part. We are inside 5 minutes. I think it's about time for you and I to go for a walk here, Mr. Faust, and let's go get us a front row seat. We will crawl ourselves out there and be ready to go. It's Heat 1B of the 2025 H1 Unlimited APBA Gold Cup on the Columbia River. We're just getting started here with racing. Should be another good one here. Should be a dandy. Only got 3 boats, but they're all evenly matched. And we will have boats on the water. We do have boats on the water. The first boat away from the dock, the U-12. That would be the 12. The Graham Trucking is away. You have the camera right there on the U-11. The Flav-R-Pac, Jamie Nilsen, he is away from the dock now. I had to step off to the left there a little bit, do fist bump with my buddy Ben Dowell. He's happy to hear and see his boat away from the dock. Great shot there from the drone, just beautiful there of the U-11 Flav-R-Pac, and we've been talking about it, Tanner, since we got to Gunnersville. This character, this Jamie Nilsen, does an amazing job of grabbing an inside lane. Let's see how he plays this. He definitely was not in any hurry whatsoever to get out on the race course, and he's trailing everybody going up the back chute.
Yes, he seems widely known as, in the conversations I've had with other teams and crew chiefs and even owners, as somebody who gets the most out of the boat that he's in. And, you know, he's not in one of the high-dollar teams that maybe is spending quite as much per boat as some of the other teams, but he's certainly a guy that can maximize the boat that he's in and has the racecraft to get the job done.
A couple of guys going across the start-finish line here that grew up in, well, I shouldn't say grew up, but more recently, and by that I mean over the last 20 years, have done an awful lot of racing in Region 10, which is the Pacific Northwest of APBA. Look at the crowd there in the background up and down the banks here of the Columbia River. Keep an eye on Jamie Nilsen here. I got half a notion he's going to hang a left-hand turn because the other 2 boats going all the way down to the bottom. Jamie wants to take a left, or go ahead and go, Jamie, if you, and there he goes.
Now he's got to stall this off to 1:15 if he's going to hold the inside from this maneuver, right?
You are exactly right. But the key to our longtime race fans here, and they know this one well, the dreaded 80-mile-per-hour rule is off the table. It used to be if you went below 80 miles an hour for a very short period of time, you were DSQ'd. We took that off the table. We know that's going to have some of these guys crawling up the backstretch like Jamie is right now, and that's okay. So great shot there as the drone rides along with Gunnar O'Farrell, and he looks out and looks to the front of him, and he sees the red and black of Jeff Bernard and the U12, the Graham Trucking. So it looks like Jeff will pull up here on the outside of Jamie Nilsen to the top end of the course. Again, looking at the clock, 1:50 till the start. They have to be behind the start-finish line at the 1:15 mark. And honestly, Tanner, it just didn't look like Jeff cared. I think he had to know that Jamie was going to jump across there and get to the inside. I think Jeff just said, fine, go ahead and do it. I think Jeff wants to run this in lane number 2. Now, let's see if he
beat the clock there.
Yeah, he's got to be careful here. 1:15 is the mark. Jeff's getting close.
And he's crossed over.
He's going to be, oh, he did. He jumped to the inside. Now, that's a legal maneuver. Now, the boats do have, great call. He did. He jumped over on Jamie Nilsen. He had to have 5 boat lengths to do that and to do it legally. Now, Jamie could still take it back, but Jamie has to have 5 boat, and he's got him, and he just did. Jamie put his foot in it and rode hard to the lower corner, and he made sure he had 5 boat lengths on Jeff Bernard, and then he moved to the left. Now we're inside 45 seconds. That was an interesting maneuver from where I'm sitting. It was a pretty interesting maneuver from Jeff Bernard's standpoint. He went ahead and grabbed the inside, but didn't protect it like I thought he might have.
Well, no love lost between these two. Certainly both of them are geared and ready and wanting the inside lane, so we'll see how this plays out. Jamie's going to be on the defensive from now to the start. 20 seconds to go.
Yeah, and they established their lane right there, so the lane they are in, that's the lane they have to come down to the start. Oh, and I think they're going to be in good shape because it's about a 9-10 second run off the clock. Bernard might be really good on this one. Could be a good start. We are 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark, and it's going to be a clean start from where we were sitting, Tanner, and it is Jeff Bernard in lane number 2 that's got the lead, but look at the speed from Gunnar O'Farrell on the outside.
Boy, Gunnar is just flying that boat incredibly high. Jamie a little bit on the inside, slow to spool up out of that last corner, and this is just treacherous as they hit their own rollers from the previous lap.
Boy, I tell you what, Jamie was really tight to the apex buoy, and you see the dividends being paid from that. Look at them, 3 wide off the corner. 1, 2, 3. You're seeing all 3 boats running up the back chute. Jamie is now pulling up alongside Jeff Bernard on the inside, but it is still Gunnar O'Farrell. But now here comes Jamie. He's closing on Gunnar. He's going to pull up alongside. We said this could be great racing. Tanner is another beauty.
Oh, the commitment to turn in between the lanes. Jeff stuck between 2 hallways of water at 150 miles an hour. Just the commitment and almost boat to boat there between Gunnar and Jeff on the way out of that turn.
Here we come to put 1 of 4 in the books, and it's almost a dead heat, but it's still Gunnar O'Farrell by a half a boat length as they come across. Gunnar's driving the daylights out of that Spirit of America. He's got the lead, but he's on the far outside, but he's also got a lot of water to work with out there, Tanner.
Boy, Jeff just making sure that Jamie Nilsen on the inside knows that he better hug the inside lane, because Jeff has given him just exactly 1 lane wide coming into turn 1.
Here we come off the corner again and looking from the start-finish line across at the 2 boats that we see, and you're looking right now at the same view I have lower the top of my monitor, but in between those boats is Jeff Bernard and the U12, the Graham Trucking. This is an outstanding race up the backstretch, side-by-side racing. And at the top end of the course, it's still Gunnar. Now you get a look in there at Bernard. Gunnar has found a good line on the outside. Tanner, he tested in an outside lane all week, and it's paying dividends for him.
It sure is. Jeff still has been in that hallway. He's made a little grounds on Gunnar here coming into the final lap, but Jamie now stretched his lead, doing an incredible job staying on the buoys and shortening the course on the inside lane.
He is doing a great job. Gunnar O'Farrell is showing me a lot of boat speed, and look at this. Still 2 more to go. This is lap 3. Remember, we go 4 times around, and you called it perfectly on Jeff Bernard. He's driving in the hallway, and that hallway's getting deep. He's getting caught back there. This is not a good spot for Bernard right now.
Yeah, he's catching spray from Jamie on the inside lane, and he almost looked like he had to back out of it a little bit.
To do that, but the boat seems to be running very, very well on the outside. But it is still Jamie Nilsen, Miss Flav-R-Pac. Nice line through the top end of the course. And he is, you are right, Tanner, he is opening up water. I'm going to step out here and check, just make sure the white flag flies. 1 to go.
Yeah, Jeff in that big float from Jamie over the start-finish line. I mean, the water just gets rougher and rougher every lap. That's one thing you don't account for, is that the racetrack is just deteriorating as they stay out there. But Jamie doing a great job of still keeping that inside. Unreal how much speed Gunnar is committing to, especially after his last stay on this water turned into tears, unfortunately.
Absolutely. Now be careful, Gunnar. You got second place wrapped up. He's still got his sights on Jamie Nilsen and a Miss Flav-R-Pac. But I think this one pretty much has got the shouting over. I think he's going to run out of real estate. But I'll tell you what, Gunnar O'Farrell. Go, Tanner.
No, he a higher top speed on that stretch right there. Jamie, one more time. Make record, and Jeff looks like he's understands where his position is and just going to take his 3rd place there in the red boat.
Here comes Jamie Nilsen. He's going to come down and pick up a 1st place finish in our Heat 1B, 400 points into Miss Flav-R-Pac. Then the Spirit of America, Gunnar O'Farrell, with a great run on that one. It was outstanding. And Jeff Bernard, as you call it, he just got in a tough spot. Once he fell back a little bit in the hallway, he was in deep trouble.
Boy, you watch the vintage. You've watched vintage boats, they give each other so much space, and then you get into the unlimiteds, and the hallway is narrow.
The gloves come
off.
Oh,
he turns in there, and it's like it's like driving through concrete wall. So it's 2 really incredible races, 1st and 2nd within a rooster tail both times, not really being able to call it until basically the last lap. It's awesome stuff. We should do these heats like this more often, where they pair up to the boats that they're closest to in qualifying. It makes for good racing.
I think we have a new advocate for the fan plan right here. So I'm going to ask you something about that. I'm going to lead you down a path here, and I'm not going to give you really a way to go out. Do you know what the average speed of Corey Peabody was in the 1st heat? No. I don't either. Do you know what it was right there for Jamie Nilsen?
No.
I don't either. Do you care?
No.
No, it was side-by-side boat racing. As you can tell, it takes me a couple of minutes to come down. That really gets me charged. I always say, just hook a couple of them up and let's go.
I know. I thought you were going to jump in the water there at the end.
It was exciting. That was good. So, H1 Unlimited Hydroplane Racing fans, I hope you like that, because I got really good news for you. We got lots more to come. We still have Heat 2A and 2B to come this afternoon. And then tomorrow we're going to do 3A and B, 4A and B. And then we're going to haul that big trophy out and go 5 times around in a winner-take-all. Going to be fun.
It is. It's a lot of racing at this event.
It is.
And so far, knock on wood, the weather has been cooperating. Every session that was supposed to hit the water has. And that's a first for me. I mean, in this season, there have been a lot of sessions that have just gotten canceled, so the weekends have gotten shortened up. But, man, I bet by the end of the weekend, with this much driving, these teams have the boats completely dialed and know exactly what to expect, and the racing gets tight.
You know, and that's the whole thing. And you just reminded me of J. Michael Kelly in a victory he had in that Graham trucking boat here on the Columbia River one time. And as they went into the final heat, I don't think he hadn't won a heat all weekend, and he won the final in pretty convincing style. And when I interviewed him on the dock, we're looking at Shannon Rainey there on the left with a very happy driver, Jamie Nilsen, there with his back to you, taking the helmet off and the Hans device there on the back of the neck. But Mike said, I just kept talking to my crew, and my crew chief just kept telling me, don't worry about it. We'll get you there. By the time we get to the final, you'll have a boat. Look at the smile on Shannon's face there. one of the boat owners. She is a happy individual, as I said during testing and qualifying, very active in H1 Unlimited. She's on the board of, and you even made the comment, you know, they maybe don't have the biggest budget of some of these guys out here, but when it comes to talent, anybody, Scott Rainey turning the wrenches on that, nobody's any better than him. That's a good one.
A race team is, you know, the budget is important, but it is a sum of the people. So it's when you get the right people, right, you know, the right drivers, the right people turning wrenches, and the right people managing it, you can definitely punch above your weight when the budget weight. So it's great to see Jamie Nilsen do that. I think he's, you know, in car racing, the high dollar teams look for those drivers that they know what that budget is on the team they're racing against. They know they should be beating them every single time. And when the driver is making up some of that talent and some skill and some well-timed risk, that's who they look to hire.
Absolutely. We're looking there at the Miss Flav-R-Pac, the winner of our Heat 1B. I've got to give a tip of the cap because I was very, very surprised at the U21 Spirit of America, Gunnar O'Farrell. We can say he ran in lane number 3, but I really don't think so. He was more like 4.5 or 5. He was way out there. 5. He was way out there. He had quite a bit of boat speed, and I wasn't sure he was going to be able to handle both of them. I thought maybe Bernard might get his nose in there, but once he got back a little bit, it was over. That hallway starts getting real narrow. I can only imagine what it must be like trying to drive in there.
Yeah, and Jeff Bernard in the Graham Trucking boat did not make it easy for the Flav-R-Pac boat. You could see pinching off the entry. You know, the wider your entry into the corner, the more speed you can carry. And Jeff Bernard would really pinch off that entry and hold lane 2 really tight to lane 1, so that Jamie Nilsen the tightest radius, slower speed through that inside lane. And Nilsen did an obviously that able to get out of the hole each time, and it worked out.
Just an interesting start procedure there. Jamie seemed like the two guys just said, fine, we're going to go all the way down to the bottom. Jamie, we know you're going to cut the race course. Then he goosed it coming across here at the score up and moved left and got it, and then Jamie squirted, went by him, all totally legal. Just got to have 5 boat lengths. So it was interesting, and I think I don't know if Jeff had to rethink it. He might he might think maybe that lane 1 was better. But to your point, you don't know how he's geared. You don't know what the plan was. Bottom line, they came out with 225 third-place points.
One question I did have for you: when Jamie did retake the inside lane pretty forcefully into turn 1 with speed, he may have had the 5 boat lengths, but he still got the Graham Trucking Jeff Bernard wet with his rooster tail when he crossed over. Do you have to have a complete rooster tail overlap also?
That actually is very interesting, and it's a good point that you bring up. Now, I wasn't sure he got wet because the way the rule reads now, 5 boat lengths or a rooster tail, whatever's longer. Okay. So if he got wet, they're going to take a look at it. I didn't think he did, maybe. That was a rule that we put in place every year in San Diego, because as you'll learn when we go down there, there's one thing those turbines hate. Sure. Salt water is the death to a turbine. And so we put that rule, and after San Diego last year, we just kind of thought, and we had a lot of competition committee discussions about it, maybe we should just put it in place all the time. And so it is in place now. So we'll see how that plays out. He's got to have, and that was during a 5-minute period, and during the 5-minute period, you have to have a 5 boat length overlap. You're going to love this because you say, why does this always get more confusing? You have to have a 5 boat overlap during the 5-minute period, or a rooster tail length, whichever is longer. Right. During the racing, it is a 7 boat length overlap, or the length of a rooster tail. Now, I could confuse it even further than that because there is an asterisk on that, and it actually came into play in Madison, Indiana, but we won't go down that road because we don't have to. And there was a lot of discussion, and honestly, I was on the side of the fence because I was in the discussions. Why don't we just make it 7 from the time they leave the pit area to the time they come back to the dock? Why don't we just make it 7 and keep it simple? And our chief referee got very much involved in it with the competition committee, and there was a good discussion on both sides of it. But the thinking was, if you've got to have 7 boat lengths, during the 5-minute milling period, you're making it that much harder for anybody to move over on somebody and really fight for the lane. And the thought was, well, maybe if you're just going to make it 7 boat lengths even during the milling period, why don't you just assign the lanes and be done with it? So it came down to the officials really wanting to call it a certain way. They're the ones that have to make the calls. They're the ones that felt they had the devices available to them to make that type of call, and we decided to support the officials, and that's what you want to call, but we'll do it that way. So
it's got to be tough on the spotters because, I mean, the difference between 5 and 7 boat lengths as they're cruising around at 80 to 100 miles an hour is pretty hard to see from the shore. And, you know, if somebody takes a screenshot of a video and measures it out exactly, you know, as they would, it's the spotter up here who just on the gut feeling of does that seem like 7 boat lengths is the one saying, yeah, you're clear or you're not.
Let's send it down to our Erica Allreed. I believe she is standing by with what has to be a very happy Jamie Nilsen. Erica?
Jamie, an absolute dogfight between you three during that milling period in the beginning stages of the race. Can you take me through the heat of that one from under the helmet as you went on to take your first heat win since Gunnarsville of 2024?
Yeah, holy cow, what a race. So, you know, we knew it was going to be a real battle. I mean, anytime you're racing against Jeff Bernard, you know you got your hands full, and especially if you want to try to get the inside lane, because as you saw, I mean, he's a heck of a driver. Even though he's had some time off, he picks up right where he left off. But, you know, so happy for this U11, this Flav-R-Pac team, you know, to score first place, but 400 points in the bank to start the Gold Cup weekend. I mean, we couldn't ask for anything better. So,
what more could you ask for, and how do you intend to replicate this effort in the second heats?
You know, just keep doing what we're doing. I mean, it's a long weekend, as everyone's going to tell you. So you just got to bank as many points as you can, not make any mistakes, avoid the penalties, and you know, try to get a spot on that front line in the final. That's what it's all about, because we all know anything can happen Sunday afternoon, but we want to put the Miss Flav-R-Pac out there and give her a good chance.
A job well done here in Heat 1. Thank you so much, Jamie. Back to you guys.
Well, we thought that would be a rather happy Jamie Nilsen. Kind of sounded like that was not too difficult to predict, but he was pretty happy with that one.
He was, and you know, I'm not familiar with Jeff Bernard driving. I think this is the first time I've seen him full-on racing. So it's interesting to get what other drivers feel about you know, their competitors out there, and there's no doubt that Jeff was putting the pressure on and was doing everything he could to get lane 1. But man, dogfight was the right word, Erica. That was awesome.
It was good. I think we're going to queue up some highlights here, but you and I can keep talking about the heat. We thought the first heat would be the big one. Everybody was talking about it, and indeed it was, because you had the big dogs, the fastest qualifiers, but you're never going to find any better competition than we just saw in that one. And I've said it to you now about 4 times since this heat came out on the water. The fun part about this whole thing is let's put a couple of boats side by side, and are we going to see? This is now I know what you're looking for.
Yeah,
here.
I was looking to see if they got wet on the crossover before the start, but this is already racing, I think.
Yeah, I think it is too, and if it is, this is lap 1.
Yep, and you can see how much Jeff is really keeping Jamie Nilsen on the inside honest. Gosh, look at those walls of water that Jeff had to deal with. That is just insane.
And this is a little bit later on when Jeff started to fall back, because that first time they came out of turn 1 down there was 3 boats, boom, 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 and you could see them all. It was just a dynamite view, and this is where it really started to get tough for Jeff Bernard. You saw him falling back into the tunnel, or the hallway as we like to call it. But you talk about a gamer. How about that Gunnar O'Farrell? And he wasn't going to go away. He was going to stay in that right side rear view mirror and stay there as long as he could, and he gave it a run all the way to the very end. But it was Jamie Nilsen who stood up to it in the U11, Miss Flav-R-Pac. Obviously a couple of happy owners too, but he earned that one, no question about it. And again, we'll have to warn everybody that he was the winner on the water. The boats do have to go through tech inspection, so his being Jamie Nilsen, will be the first data acquisition box that will come out of the boat, and it will go up and visit Seth Partial. And there you're going to get a look here, I think. Yeah, you'll see Shannon back there smiling. So Heat 1, 1A and B are in the books.
Yeah.
Everybody scored points.
Not disappointing. That was great racing.
We are, nobody's disappointed. Well, you know, J. Michael Kelly is not real happy with things, but it's okay. It's a long weekend. There's a lot of racing. We have the extra section of heats here because it's the APBA Gold Cup, and we are just getting started here, but we got 7 boats competing for this year's Cup, and all 7 of them scored points. All of them are still looking to be in good shape, and that's all we can ask.
Yeah, and more racing coming up, some louder boats about to hit the water with the GP boats.
And you know what happens now in the H1 Unlimited side? They're all meeting down where we had the drivers meeting yesterday, and they'll put the ping pong balls in the bucket, and they'll grab some lucky fan and have them pull the ping pong balls out. We'll get a draw for Heat 2A and 2B. And one year over here, the fans were really disappointed at a Columbia Cup a few years ago because they drew out the second heats identical to the first one. Well, there was nothing in the rule book about that, but everybody was complaining about it. They said, oh, that's rigged and all that good stuff. We rewrote the rule. If that happens, if you draw it out exactly the same, you throw them back in and you redraw. Now, if you draw them out the same way a third time, you run them that way, but I think you also run up and get a lottery ticket at that point. If you can do that 3 times in a row, that's pretty good.
Well, I mean, it's probably a good rule because then, you know, you're fighting for points, and your points are based on head-to-head, so you want to mix around and get the field done. And so that's, you know, to really stack up to where the points should go throughout the weekend, especially when you have 4 heats. You really are going to get a pretty reliable gradient from the fastest race boat in race trim to the least successful one after so much time on the water.
And that's why it is the Gold Cup. That's why it is more of an endurance race. For Tanner Faust, Brad Luce, we're going to step away from just a moment. We're going to take a short break. You heard Tanner say it's going to get loud and proud here in a little bit, and that is going to happen. Our Grand Prix America hydroplanes are going to be coming out on the water. Tanner and I will step away. It is H1 Unlimited's coverage of the 115th running of the APBA Gold Cup. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
H1 Unlimited Hydroplanes.
The world's fastest race boats.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, really flying the boat. It doesn't get any better than that. They are going to be side by side. This is for the checkered flag. Back here on the start-finish line on the 2.5-mile race course here for H1 Unlimited Hydroplanes on the Columbia River in the Tri-Cities of Washington. My name is Brad Luce, but we're going to shift gears and shift away from that 2.5-mile race course. We're going to shorten it up and go to a 1 2/3 mile race course. As we are looking at a clock on the corner of the screen, we are 5 minutes and 50 seconds away from the start of our Grand Prix America Heat 2. I think we just had a reset on that start because I think we had that count a little bit lower. I think they have reset the clock, but we are inside 1 minute to the 5-minute mark for Grand Prix America Heat number 2. We're going to have 6 boats coming out. They will be the same 6 boats that we had in our first heat, but the lanes which are assigned in Grand Prix America Racing, the lanes will be inverted. So lane number 1 will go to the GP12 and Josh Harnick. Kevin Akrit will be in lane number 2 driving the GP10. Then it'll be John Shaw in the GP135. He'll be in lane number 3. Our winner of our first heat was Austin Ekert in GP17. He'll be in lane number 4. Greg Hopp will be in lane 5 in that low profile Old Trapper beef jerky. And then rounding out our 6-boat field on the far outside will be Jeff Bernard. Jeff wants a good finish here because he jumped the start in the first heat. He's going to be on the far outside. He wants points. Remember, you win in Grand Prix America Racing by winning yourself in to an inside lane come final heat time. The boats are away from the dock. 4 minutes and 30 seconds until our start. I'm going to make my way up to the front row. You watch Greg Hopp in that low profile GP15 right there on your screen. 4:25 till the start. Grand Prix America Heat 2. Four minutes to the start. Grand Prix America Heat number 2. Josh Harnick will be in lane number 1 now. We'll start looking. I've only got 2 boats out on the race course right now with 3:48 till the start. Jeff Bernard, you're watching him come across, or you were watching him come across. Now we're looking down toward the pit area. Here comes Austin Ekert away in the Miss Renee, the GP17. He is away from the clock, or away from the dock. So he will be our 3rd boat. Jeff Bernard down to the bottom end of the race course looks up and sees the powder blue and white of Austin Ekert coming out on the water. I'm looking back at our dock. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vintage hydroplanes in the water. I do not believe there are any more Grand Prix in the water. I think this is going to be a 3-boat field. And what we're going to get here is going to be on the outside will be Jeff Bernard in the GP79. We've got Austin Ekert and Greg Hopp is there. So the boats that are on the water right now are slated to go in lanes 4, 5, and 6. So they're going to go inside out. Austin Ekert will be on the inside. Next to him and in between boats will be Greg Hopp. Jeff Bernard coming across start-finish line right now, GP17 in that atomic screen printing. Got sponsorship this weekend also from West Coast Mobile Equipment and Repair out of Shelton, Washington. Want to thank them for their participation. 2 minutes and 10 seconds, 2:10 until the start. It's Grand Prix America, Heat number 2. Going to be in the middle. Bernard will be on the outside. That's the... Oh, we do have a 4th boat has come out on the race course. I missed it coming away from the dock. Thank you very much to my spotter, Brad Haskin, picked up on that one. Thank you very much. He is coming across the race course. Let me see who we've got here. That is Bernard that's coming across the race course. So what we've got, the other boat that is out there is Kevin Ekert in the GP10. He's going to run on the inside. So Ekert's going to be on the inside. Austin Ekert's going to be in 2. Hopper's going to be in 3. And on the outside is going to be Jeff Bernard. You see there's the GP10 there on the screen, the boat they call the Freak. with Kevin Ekert behind the wheel. Got his cousin right there on the outside. Look at that, there's two guys that know each other very well at the 1 minute mark. Coming up on 1 minute. Greg's got a minute to get around the race course here. And he's going to have to hustle a little bit because we are inside 55 seconds until our start. I think he will be okay. Coming up on 45 seconds, the camera there in the lower right corner of your screen. That is Greg Hopp in that Old Trapper beef jerky. If anybody knows how to lay down a start with a whole lot of boat speed, it's that one you're looking at right there, that low profile GP15, the Old Trapper beef jerky, Stettner electric and overturf Volkswagen. There's a good look there of the four boats coming up the backstretch. You see them all in their lanes. Now it's time to go. We're inside 15 seconds to the start. Watch Austin Ekert. He is out front, but keep an eye on Kevin on the inside. Inside 10 seconds, inside 5. We are 3, 2, 1. Mark, and I think we're illegal, and it's Austin Ekert, but look at Jeff Bernard with the boat speed on the outside. It's going to be Bernard and Ekert coming down the lane number 1. Or corner number 1. Austin gets down there first. I thought Jeff would get down there first. This might be really interesting. Jeff is on the outside of the powder blue and white, the GP17. You can see the rooster tail on the outside. You can see it on the screen. There you can from the drone. He's back about 2 boat lengths. Here comes Jeff Bernard, and he just rockets past Austin Ekert at the halfway mark of the backstretch. Now you're going to see the benefit of that inside lane. We go 3 times around. Austin's got the benefit of the inside lane, but Jeff Bernard's got a ton of boat speed here. Coming off the top end of the course, and this time I think it's going to be all Jeff Bernard. Although Ekert's staying with him, but he's given ground. Bernard at the end of 1. Ekert still hanging in there on the inside. And then it's back to Kevin Ekert in 3rd place, and Greg Hopp comes off the top end of the race course in 4th place. Down to the bottom end. Still a good boat race down there. And this is all specifically due to lane position. And I tell you what, one thing we like to say in boat racing is Jeff Bernard right now is driving him clean. He has given Austin Ekert plenty of room on the inside. He's not slamming the door on him. I think Jeff believes he's got enough speed. If he can just take a lap or 2, he can open this up. And right now, he has opened it up to a full rooster tail. And I say that, and he closes the door on Austin. And Austin now moves to the outside. Bernard comes down and puts 2 of 3 in the book. He'll pick up a white flag, 1 more to go. Awesome Austin was a gamer in that one. He hung in there as long as he could. And I think at some point he decided, all right, I'll give it to you. You got me on this one. He moved to the outside. Kevin Ekert still running solid in 3rd place. And we've got a little bit of a parade going on here. I was hoping to get a little bit more out of Greg Hopp in this particular heat. He got behind the field at the start and was never able to really get clean water and run with the rest of them. And now you've got a 3 rooster tail lead for Jeff Bernard. Up the backstretch, we'll follow him through the top end, going right underneath our drone there. Jeff getting a very, very good ride. He'll come off the top end of the race course. He will come down in our Heat 2 for Grand Prix America. That's a good run for Jeff. That's the top side, and a good run for Austin Ekert. Austin's got to be feeling pretty good so far. He's run 2 heats. He's got a 1st and a 2nd. Kevin Ekert in the GP10. Good looking hydroplane. Boat they call the Freak. He will come home in 3rd place, and here comes Greg Hopp in that Old Trapper beef jerky Stettner electric. And there was the perfect description of somebody just taking it easy, making sure you bring the boat back in one piece. So 4 started, 4 will finish, and Jeff Bernard showed his domination in that one, picking up a 1st place finish. No tech inspection for these guys as long as they are clean on the water. That will be the way they will be officially scored for Heat 2 of Grand Prix America. I believe that next up on our schedule is our vintage hydroplanes. But before we get there, I am hoping we will have the opportunity to have our Jeff Bernard catch up with, well, we'll call it our Brent Hall, catch up with, I call him our, I've worked with him a lot before, but he will catch up with Jeff Bernard and have a conversation with him. I think Jeff will be happier after that one. I don't think he was very pleased after the first heat when he jumped the start. So that's the way they started and finished in Heat 2 of our Grand Prix America boats. We had 6 in the first heat. We only had 4 in the second heat, but some good racing nonetheless. Austin Eckert hung in there with Jeff Bernard as far as he could and as long as he could, but in the end, it was Jeff being the dominant boat. He will come home in first place. Again, the Grand Prix class racing is all about winning your way in. The more you can win, the further you can move to an inside lane. And if you have the most points going into that final heat and have had the best weekend so far, you're going to have the opportunity to have that inside lane, and that is absolutely critical when it comes to boat racing on a wide course like this. And those guys really want it. We call it winning. And awesome Austin Eckert are trying to accomplish. Heat 2 is in the books. Next up on our schedule is our vintage hydroplane on the left of the. Seeing there that on the bottom of the screen, you're seeing that our Corey Peabody passed tech inspection. Therefore, his first place finish in Heat 1A of H1 Unlimited has been certified, so put it down in pen now. He was the winner of Heat 1A, and he will collect his 400 points. Second place will go to the U91 Goodman Real Estate Andrew Tate. Heat 2 passed tech inspection, and I'm watching the ticker right along with you to ensure that Dave Villwock and the Miss Apollo did same and also passed tech inspection, and there's the word coming across. So good for Dave. Ratchford, his boat's and third. Here come our vintage boats away from the dock. Vintage boats are coming away from the dock right now. They will come out. I'm hoping to be joined here by Brad Haskin and Tanner Faust and talk a little bit about the museum, talk a little bit about the vintage hydroplanes, and also have an opportunity to talk with Brad Haskin a little bit more about some of the future plans for the Hydroplane and Raceboat Museum. I don't see either of those two, however, but looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All 5 of our vintage hydroplanes are going to make their way out on the water. This is a special part of the Tri-City Water Follies and their event each year. It's fine. Our vintage boats are out on the water. We are awaiting to catch up with Jeff Bernard. He will be on the dock. He's moving him into position now for the interview. So we will have, hopefully, we'll catch up with Jeff Bernard here in just a moment as our vintage boats are coming away from the dock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They all were in the water. They are all out on the race course. I see on the screen there 5 rooster tails as they go up toward the top end of our race course. There you're looking at the Miss Wahoo and the blue chip. I'm assuming Jerry Heiser behind the wheel of the Wahoo and Mitch Evans driving the blue chip, and I'm getting a nod from Brad Haskin, who's sitting next to me, says, yep, that's the way they are. And we are just waiting for Brent Hall. He will jump in as soon as we have our winner from our Grand Prix Heat 2. We are about to, while we wait for that, however, we are about to enjoy the roar of vintage hydroplanes The Wahoo is sitting on that inside lane just like he did yesterday. Apparently Tanner Faust had a good conversation with Jerry Heiser, gave him some tips, told him to go down and talk to Jamie Nilsen. He'll teach you how to get that inside lane. The Blue Chip is sitting in 2. The Thriftway is sitting in 3. The Notre Dame is sitting in 4. And on the far outside comes the Green Dragon, the Miss Bardol. Great sight, even a better sound as they come across. And our Tanner Faust is sitting here next to me. Tanner, when you came by, you were going faster than that. Just wanted you to know that.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, look at actually, he's just clipping the inside buoys there on the inside, right in that last straightaway. But it's very cool to see these guys. They hang pretty tight the entire race, even though they're giving each other some berth. Now, do they have the same starting procedure as we see in GP and in H1?
They are just hooking up and staying together.
They are, okay.
They are hooking up and staying together. This is Brad Haskin, whom we're going to bring in here after we talk with Brent Hall. He will tell you it's like an air show. We're putting on a show here. These guys are not going to go out and race back in the day, and I think we've got Brent Hall down in the pit area standing by with Jeff Bernard. Brent, take it away.
Wow, what a great heat. I'm here with Jeff Bernard from the GP79, Bad Influence. It was hot too. I saw you changing out your cool suit. Talk to us.
Yeah, we're trying a new cool suit this weekend, just with the running the Unlimited and the GP with the temperatures here. Actually, it's not really that bad, but the cool suit jumping from boat to boat kind of helps you in the cockpit. It's about 20 degrees cooler with it on.
Yeah, we talked about this in Madison. We were talking about Brandon and having to do the same thing. What is it like jumping from boat to boat, and how you feeling?
Good. This is a strange schedule. Usually it's not this jam-packed, but we're doing 4 heats right here, pretty much back to back to back. I feel good. We're still working on the Unlimited a little bit. We thought we fixed the fuel problem, and it came back in that heat. Obviously, we fell back there on the 3rd lap, but the GP79 is running great all weekend. Just like normal, those guys are doing a great job. Want to thank Western Mobile and Atomic Screen Printing for helping us out this weekend. But see where we are tomorrow. I'm pretty sure we'll be back outside for that heat. And name of the game, get lane 1 in the final, and then we'll go try to cruise around.
All right, well, you got your workout in. No treadmill tonight. We'll go back to you, Brad and Tanner. Jeff, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brent Hall. Great job down there talking with our Jeff Bernard. He's a busy guy. You heard him talking there. He's driving a couple of boats, so he's heard him talking about the cool suit. You ever worn one of those?
I have. They're super helpful. And like you said, I mean, once you're in the moment and in the heat of it, I mean, okay, these guys are out in the wind. You may not notice it as much. Decision making. Well, heat is the enemy. I mean, when your body heat goes up, you may not even realize you're making bad decisions till after the fact. You watch the video and you wonder why you did that. But when you overheat, you start to make mistakes, and so it can make a big difference even in your performance, not just your comfort level between heats.
Joining us here on the set is Brad Haskin, a young man that you got to know yesterday through the whole Wahoo thing, and I think we've got you wired up. Are you good to go, Bradley?
Good to go.
We got you in the air, so we got your
Tanner's
boats back.
still smiling. I like that.
Yeah,
that's
no,
good.
I still a big thank you, Brad, for getting me in, Miss Wahoo. And it's great to see these boats out on the water. I mean, they just are so graceful.
Yeah,
and they get the speed so gracefully also.
And like what Brad was saying earlier, when I first started driving, some guy named Hanauer that Mr. Luce might know pulled me aside and said, you gotta change your way of thinking, that this is not racing, this is exhibition driving. So like what he said, these are almost scripted to make it look good like an air show act from the beach. This is for the spectators, And I've had people say, I wish you guys would run faster, wish you guys would run harder. And it's like, well, these are museum pieces though, and kind of like what Mr. Luce and I were talking about here about the first 2 Unlimited heats. You can't tell how fast between heat 1A and 1B. They were both really great heats, even though the speeds were different. It doesn't matter. So to get these old boats out here, making this noise right here, yeah.
And this is when we just let them go. And they're not even going, to your point, both of you. So, I mean, you can just imagine what that might have sounded like if they were stomping on those things, rolling back in the day. But now what you guys do at the museum is absolutely outstanding. How many have restored?
Yeah,
20 something?
Yeah, we're 18, 19, and we got two under restoration right now. As an aside, I mentioned yesterday that we're restoring the 1979 Circus that was driven by Steve Reynolds. This morning in the pits, I ran into his daughter Krista, and she let me moved into an assisted living facility, and this is all fallout from his accident back in Madison in '87. So he's kind of off social media and out of it, but he should be listening today. We all wanted to say hi to Steve, let everybody know that his fans still love him and we're thinking about him, and hope he's getting a smile out of this.
This was one of the great drivers back in the day. He was going to be the face of this sport. He was so charismatic. He was good looking. All the gals loved him, and he was so articulate. Then he had a horrific crash in Madison, Indiana, and I'm sorry to hear that it's catching up to him. I'm not at all surprised, but that's good news that Steve is still with us. He's still listening to us, and I want him on the dock when you put that 79 Circus back in the water.
The nice thing is his family is still involved in the restoration,
yes.
So it's all good. And the boats are still looking great. It looks like we may have lost the Thriftway. They were having an oil leak yesterday, so it looked like on that first lap he kind of slapped back. He may have come back to the dock.
And how many people, we talked yesterday about the volunteers. You and David, you're right up there, and David likes to say he's at the tip of the spear and all that good kind of stuff. And it's true, but you have so many volunteers. How many volunteers do you have?
100.
Do you really?
But gosh, if there's any inkling, if you're in the area, come down. If you want to get involved, join the museum. We don't have any. That sound.
There it is. That Wahoo's still out front.
Belongs, honestly.
We don't have any big corporate sponsors for the museum. We are supported by donations and by memberships and stuff, and we make it work by our volunteers. So if you're in the Seattle area, or you can, we have people that are members that come and take their summer vacations and will come help us.
Wow.
Come down to the museum, join them, be a member, help us out. In October every year, we take the boats up to Lake Chelan, and we have our event called Mahogany and Merlot, where all we do is run vintage exhibitions and give rides. And
sounds like you drink wine also.
He's very perceptive. Very perceptive.
I'm quick, yeah.
But if you volunteer, and if you volunteer at the museum with 200 hours of work, you earn a ride.
Okay.
But you can also buy a ride. We sell rides in these. So if you're sitting on the beach and you see this, we had somebody within the last month on the East Coast find out about this, and they booked a ride, and they're going to fly in from the East Coast to take a ride at Lake Chelan. So
it's worth it.
This kind of stuff is just, it doesn't get out of your blood.
It's worth it. I'll just say from the outside now, looking at these things, they look graceful and they look like they handle this with ease. They are skipping and sliding and drifting and bucking, and there is a lot going on that makes it a thrilling ride inside the cockpit of
It's very visceral, right?
Not just because you have two 4-inch exhausts blowing flame right by your face, but also just the speed. I mean, they idle at 50, 60 miles an hour. They're doing 130 like it's nothing, and turning in at 100 miles an hour. And without that big skid fin of a modern new boat, they're sliding and drifting. And it's
100%.
It's an awesome experience.
Are you going to get the victory here? Is Wahoo's going to pick
this the
up
last
the
lap?
I think this is it. We'll see. And I think you're going to get it. Oh, here comes Mitch in the
there
blue.
There he goes.
Yeah, nose. That's what I'm talking about right there.
You guys will be down popping champagne down there tonight in the Wahoo camp. If that was the final time by, and I think it was, I still want to touch about something, Brad, because we brought this up a little bit yesterday afternoon. We talk about the boats, we talk about the volunteers, and we talk about taking the boats out and running these exhibitions and how great it is that you take these boats across the country. But the museum is so much more than that. Talk a little bit about the video library that you have there, the print library that you have, the collection of photographs. I mean, this is the repository for unlimited hydroplane
like
racing.
I said yesterday, everything seems to end up with us. and we do. We have a YouTube channel, Thunderboats, a YouTube channel that has 70 years worth of, almost 100 years worth of video stuff of all types of hydroplane racing. One thing I wanted to touch on, every year we actually have a program where we bring in J-Stock kids with APBA through Region 10.
Now, J-Stock, for those who don't know,
is outboard racing, junior class outboard racing, where we actually have, I think you have to be 10. That's probably wrong, but you have to be around that age. And you can actually build your outboard hydroplanes. So we will bring families in, and it is a family thing. They come in every Saturday and they build the boats, and then we go racing. So the museum is bringing the next generation of kids. My son did it back in 2006, was the first class, and he was racing outboards against J. Michael Kelly and Jamie Nilsen. In fact, my son actually raced Jamie Nielsen's old boat.
Really?
But he would come in and go, "Oh my God, I got lane 1 over J. Michael Kelly," and then J. Michael came up and shook my hand. It's really cool to get the younger generation, and those are the kind of programs that we run down there.
And it doesn't hurt at all for the family dynamic, bringing the family together every week, going down and working on the boat. We've been talking about this all across the country, about these 4th generation racers and how they travel. And we started asking some of these people, what are the sacrifices you make to go boat racing? And they go, really, there's not a lot of sacrifice. Yes, in time, but it's time we're spending together as a family. And so there's a big positive to it.
Yes, absolutely.
Brad, I'm sorry it was so short. You and I could sit here and talk these boats all day long.
Anytime. It's worth it to see the smile on his face still.
Thank you again for that experience.
I talked about this, but I mean, it's different going 100 miles an hour in a car versus going 100 miles an hour on the water. It is a totally different picture.
It is. I mean, yeah. I feel like I want to hold an oxygen tank with me everywhere. But, yeah, and it's a different skill. It's a different feel. But like I was saying to Brad earlier, I would be tempted to jump in the water after every time in that thing because the water's just beautiful. But at 100 miles an hour, the water's not so friendly.
It's really hard.
It's a very treacherous and dangerous thing that they are skirting along. But a lot of respect for all the drivers over the years, that especially ones that drove these cars and paved the way for all the safety innovations and capability of the modern
boats are a very different animal.
They are indeed. Well, I think we're going to step away now because I'm looking at people that are here on the beach. I think we're getting ready to go back racing here fairly quickly with our H1 Unlimited class. I think we are going to take a break. But again, I want to thank you, Brad Haskin, for coming up here.
Anytime.
You are welcome anytime on the desk. If the Hydroplane and Raceboat Museum decides that they might want to put together a 30-second spot that you could put on YouTube advertising the possibility of buying a ride, I think you got a spokesperson over here who'll give you a hand.
I'm in.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks again.
All right, so I think what we're going to do now is we're going to take a break, and apparently you got busy with one of the crew members on the Goodman real estate.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm going to go straight into denial mode.
We're going to do it right now. We're going to go to this. So let's go to the video and see what we've got.
All right, we're in the pits with Michael Hansen as we come into, what is going to be an incredibly heated heat. 1A basically looks like a final. All the 4 fastest boats so far lined up. What are some of the things that you do from qualifying day to race day to prep for, driving in a lane and rougher water, et cetera?
Yeah, basically, we spend a lot of our time in testing, qualifying, getting ready for race water. We know the setup that runs pretty quick in qualifying, so we spent a lot of our time yesterday as well as this morning trying to dial in the racing setup with other boats on the race course, because you can have the fastest boat in the pits, but you still got to be running through these rough turns in the Columbia River here.
It's a tighter turn than before upriver, and so do you go even lower gearing as you go to race day than normal, or are these engines that have the torque to work?
It's even more drastic than that. In the years past, we had 1,100-foot turns at both ends, symmetrical race course. So the first turn turn now is 1,300 feet. So it's even bigger than what we had before. And then turns 2 down there are only 944 feet. So it's a lot tighter. So it's a matter of finding a balance that works good at one end, well, it doesn't hurt you at the other, because the turning radiuses are that much drastically different. And most of that relates to what the skid fin wedge is and the skid fin location. So we've been playing with that quite a bit yesterday and today. And I think we found a pretty good setup.
Because I sit there with Brad, he's seen a lot of these boats go around a lot of courses. To be honest, the Goodman real estate boat just looks settled and smooth and not walking really much, not really moving much on the water. Obviously you got a secret sauce there, but what's the combination? Is it hull design, or is it skid fin angle, or what are some of the critical things that?
It's actually years of experience. The Apollo boat that we also own next to us here was the Miss Madison boat that I helped build with my brother Lair. We ran that thing for 10 or 12 years, and we learned the idiosyncrasies of what we liked and didn't like about that boat. So then when we built this boat here, that's now the Goodman boat, we made some changes to the bottom angle of the boat as well as the sponson angles to combat some of the stuff that we were fighting with the other boat. And right out of the box, the boat was a rocket ship and dialed in. And it's been a real pleasure to work with for the last 7 or 8 years, because it does run.
All right, well, crew chief for the Goodman Real Estate, I mean, you guys have the target on your back, so good luck this weekend, all right?
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
And the two boats on the inside at 0 cross the start-finish line. It's a clean start. All right, race leaders back into turn number 3. Oh! Boat goes out! Sailing over! Got out of shape on the inside. J. Michael Kelly. Andrew Tate, 91, Goodman's Real Estate. Miss Madison Racing Team across the start-finish line with a checkered flag. Villwock's got the boat speed on the outside. He's going to time it nearly perfect. He did. He nailed the start.
Go, stretching out to a 3-0. Peabody lost his edge. Went way outside. Eccles almost hits the outer buoy.
With a checkered flag out, Dave Villwock wins Heat 1A rerun. Peabody for second, Eccles in third.
It's going to be Tate with the lead at the exit pin. Andrew Tate with the checkered flag in the Goodman Real Estate. Second to Jamie Nilsen, Mercury's Coffee Company.
There goes
Dave! Almost
oh, my goodness, Dave! King and Dave
Saved
were
it.
both in the air.
Of the exit pin, Buffalo Brothers turn 4, and the checkered flag is out for Corey Peabody in the Beacon Plumbing. Eccles pulling even with Peabody nearly as they get to the entrance pin. Peabody's holding him in tight as they come around the exit pin up turn number 4. As the 9, Beacon Plumbing, Corey Peabody takes the checkered flag in Heat 3A. It's been a great weekend, and it gets even better with a 3B Heat victory for Goodman Real Estate. The final for Apollo Columbia Cup underway. So Peabody in the lead coming up the backstretch. Who's going to challenge? Andrew Tate is back by about a half a rooster tail. On the inside, you've got Nilsen. Nilsen's going to catch up because he's on the inside, but not by much because Peabody is really hitting it hard.
Andrew Tate right in between those two boats. We got a race for second place.
Yeah, Eccles with a 2-boat length lead coming up the backstretch to the exit pin. And then you've got the gaggle of boats as Tate is starting to pull up now. He is way up in the hallway now, and he may try to challenge Eccles for second coming down the front stretch.
The defending champion will repeat as the Apollo Columbia Cup winner.
Second place, Andrew Tate. Third, Dustin Eccles in the Flav-R-Pac.
Welcome to the 5th stop on the 2006 ABRA Championship Series, the Atomic Cup, here in Tri-Cities, Washington.
Look at Jeff Bernard charging on the outside in the green boat, and there goes Dave Villwock in the bright orange Elam Plus, making a good start in the middle of the field, and to his right, Mike Allen in the formulaboats.com too. Has to keep it on the water, though. He's running fast and loose as he bounces it just a little bit. There, he's too high. Dave Villwock is going over. Miss Elam Plus has crashed on the backstretch.
I hit a wave, and then when I bounced up, I couldn't get it back. You know, it was blowing just at the wrong time going into the wind. It's one of those things that's
Welcome back to the start-finish line. Welcome back to the start-finish line here on the Columbia River. Brad Luce along with Tanner Faust. We've had some good racing so far today, and guess what? We've got some more still to come. We had a little bit of a delay here. We had some incidents on the water and some people that needed to be hydrated and so forth, so we had a little bit of a break in there, but everything is fine. Everybody's fine, and we're racing. Our boats are in the water, and one of the things we've been talking about, Tanner, is this whole start sequence. And when you, before you see it on the water, and you describe it, and that's what we're going to try and do, it's a little bit confusing because we got 5 minutes and milling periods, and we don't have assigned lanes, and we got score-up buoys, but at the end of the day, the boats can come out on the water 5 minutes before the start. We do everything on a clock start. And the name of the game is at the end of those 5 minutes. I mean, right when the clock strikes 0, put your boat right here in front of us on the start-finish line at full song in a clean lane with clean water. Don't get across the line before the clock strikes 0. You get a 1-minute penalty, and basically you're out. And don't be 2 ticks late, as we've seen before. You're going to trail everybody down to turn 1, and you'll have the same problem.
And it seems like the milestones there are you've got the 5 minutes where they can pull off the dock. You've got some positioning there, but then you've got the minute 15 to go, where once you are short of the start-finish line there, you have to be short of the start-finish line, and when you cross after a minute 15, when you're inside the minute 15, is your lane then determined, or at that point can you still shift lanes?
After the score-up buoy, you can still change lanes all the way up to the entrance to turn 2 before the start. Whatever lane you're in at that buoy, that's the one you have to bring to the start-finish line. I think our Brent Hall and Erica Allreed have done a piece on this. Let's go to the 2 of them right now.
Erica, we get to step away from the race course for a second and talk strategy. A little bit of educational moment, the milling period. You know, we hear people talk about the race before the race. Tell us some of the insight behind that.
Yeah, like you mentioned, the race before the race. It's a 5-minute period where drivers can duke it out for priority lane position. This is where we also see driver and team strategies come into play, as they can cut the course in some designated areas. They can sit dead in the water now, as the 80-mile-per rule is no longer, or they can run some strong laps. This period can make or break a driver's races. If they do not execute that strategy to perfection, they could be lagging behind or with some possible penalties. So it's always interesting, and because of its importance, sometimes that milling period, the race before the race, is arguably more exciting than the race itself.
It sure can be, if you know what's going on, right? And then they've got a radio person in their ear. Sometimes there's 2 boats on the same team, no team driving, right? But all of that is strategy, and it's a really important part of the race. So we're going to keep bringing these educational moments to you from H1 Unlimited. We just want you to understand this amazing sport that we all love and cherish.
That was a really good piece there, and as I always say, it sounds really confusing when you first hear it, but when you see it, it starts to make sense. So we're going to do that right now, because as you can see, we're a minute and 10 seconds away from having boats on the water, and then we can actually walk our fans through the start procedure. There we see the boats at the dock. They cannot come out on the race course until the 5-minute mark, and as you and I were talking, they need to have a crew member with physical contact on the boat at the dock at the 5-minute mark. They can spool the boat up and it can start moving, but they still have to have contact at the 5-minute mark. So there is Dave Villwock in the U-27, the Miss Apollo. They will be running here in our Heat 2A. They had a good run in their first heat, not as good as they would have wanted. They were right in the thick of things until Dave got wet up at the top end of the race course. Now you see the nose starting to be pushed out toward the center of the river. That is on the U-12 of Jeff Bernard, and we're zooming right in on him. He will be able to come out, but not for another 17 seconds.
Now, 3 of the 4 boats we've seen already, and from what I've learned is that a lot of the boats sometimes are geared for certain lanes. And so now it's up to the driver to get that lane to follow through on the plan. And 3 of the 4 in the first heat showed their hand that they wanted the inside lane. Jamie Nilsen, Jeff Bernard, and Dave Villwock all are pretty aggressive about getting that inside lane.
And we are inside 5 minutes. You are exactly right. The one guy who's not going to be aggressive coming off the dock this time is Dave Villwock. But now I look in the back of the screen there. Even though they tipped the nose out on the Miss Flav-R-Pac, Jamie Nilsen has not yet started to spool it up. Let's you and I go over to the front row. We're ready to go racing. It is Heat 2A of the 2025 APBA Gold Cup.
So far in 3 out of 3 heats that I've seen Dave Villwock run, he has taken the inside lane by nearly stopping on the course on the inside, forcing the hand. Is that something you've seen over what, the last 60 years of watching him race, or 40 years, I should say?
Well, it's actually really interesting what you bring up, because, and I talked about it a little earlier, but I really didn't go into any depth on it. But up until last year, we had this 80-mile-an-hour rule. So you could not drop below 80 miles per hour. And if you did, you got a penalty. Now, I see Dave is away from the dock now. He's coming on the race course, as has Jamie Nilsen. We'll see if Dave wants to play the same game. He is way down at the bottom end of the race course. Meanwhile, our other 2 boats are up at the top end. That's going to be Corey Peabody. That is the boat on the left, and Jeff Bernard, who is driving on the inside lane right now. So with 3 minutes and 20 seconds, we got boats spread all over the race course. We talk about the start procedure, Tanner. These guys can cut the race course if they want. They don't know what lane they're going to race in, and Dave is cruising up the backstretch again.
Now, do they have to cut the race course straight down the middle, or can they cut it anywhere? Obviously, there's safety boats out there. There must be some sort of regulation on where they cut the course.
There are safety zones where they cannot cross. If they do, it is an immediate disqualification. And one of the places you can cut is on the Grand Prix course, and Jeff Bernard just did it. So Bernard cut. Here goes Corey. Corey's going to go. How about Jamie? Now, Jamie's the master at getting the inside lane, but now he's got 3 boats that are ahead of him on the race course. So this will be interesting. 2 minutes and 35 seconds. So everything for the new fan who is watching this start procedure, everything has been legal so far. We're jockeying for position. The next piece to the puzzle, Tanner, as you know, the boats have to stay behind the start-finish line, which is right in front of you and me. They have to be behind that line at the 1 minute and 15 second mark. So our boats crawling up the backstretch, so they've got about a minute to kill, but they don't have to worry about staying above 80 miles an hour.
Jamie Nilsen accepting that lane 4 almost at this point. I mean, it certainly looks like they're going to be able to get underneath that minute 15 with this pace. But Nilsen coming up fast on the outside.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Oh, and Corey's gotten down. Corey's dropped off again. He's had this problem. He had it twice. He dropped down to ground idle. Now he's got the candle lit, so he's got plenty of time to catch up. But Corey's going to find himself maybe in an outside lane. So not a good deal for Corey Peabody at that point. At a minute 30, they got to stay behind this line at 1 minute and 15 seconds. Dave Villwock cruised slowly up the backstretch, but he yielded and let Jeff Bernard get inside of him. Now here comes, is this Nilsen? Yes, it is. Nielsen's going to try and make a move. He's got to have 5 boat lengths or a rooster tail, whatever is longer, and this is going to get tight because Jamie wants to move over, but Corey's flying in there, and he ran down there hard. They're getting really tight in there, and I tell you what, Corey Peabody got really, really wet going down the front end of that, and there's going to be some discussion about that. We'll let the officials take care of it. But that was Jamie trying to make a jump and move to an inside lane, and Corey going, no, I'm here, I'm here. That got really close.
Well, this will be interesting. Corey takes the outside at this point, but there'll probably be some sort of protest about that. I mean, it didn't necessarily go a smooth way, and certainly looked like Nilsen wanted to occupy that same space on the 3rd lane.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting, and I'm sure the teams up on top of the tower, they will take a look at that. Meanwhile, we are going to go racing. We'll let them look at that. Our lanes are set. It is Jeff Bernard in lane number 1, and the buoy he goes by right now. That's the lane they have to run in. The lane they are in when they cross the entrance pin to the corner, that's the one they have to bring down to the start-finish line. Peabody's going to be on the far outside. It's Bernard in 1, Villwock in 2, Nilsen in 3. We are 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1. Mark looks good to me, and Peabody broke the clock on the outside. going to run in an outside lane. Looks like Bernard is back in the hallway down there. It is a clean start on the screen. Driving down the hallway in there is Villwock again. Bernard was back. Corey comes out of the, it's Dave Villwock who comes out of the corner first. It's Villwock. I saw the white boat. I thought it was Corey. And look at Corey right alongside of him. Off the corner, Tanner. Here we go again.
Yeah, I certainly didn't give Nilsen any love back on that one. Pinched a little bit on the inside, but man, it really is neck and neck between Dave Villwock and Corey Peabody. Dave showing that he's here to play with this pace.
Yeah, he sure is. Villwock's got the lane position. Corey's got boat speed, although Dave gobbled him up coming down the backstretch. This is where that inside lane's going to pay some dividends for Dave Villwock. Look at Corey Peabody stay right on his right side sponson. They're going to come down and put one in the book, the first of four, and they're going to be dead even. It is Villwock. It is Peabody. And it's a boat length for Villwock. Tanner here. This is another really good one.
Now we got all that experience from Dave paying off. You can see first turn up next to the wide he pushes Peabody as they go through the roughest water we've seen so far.
Coming off the corner, it's Villwock. He's got a couple of boat lengths there on Peabody, but Corey's right with him. Corey doesn't, and there's the front end of the U9. Side by side racing here on lap 2 of 4. Remember, we go 4 times around. Villwock and Peabody, they are tied together. That looks like one boat. It is 2 up the backstretch. Now they get to the entrance pin. This is the second of 4 times around. Villwock is on the inside. That's the U27 to Miss Apollo. It's the U9. And Corey Peabody and the Beacon Plumbing on the outside. This looks like a rerun of lap number 1, but it's lap number 2 this time. And they will come down side by side. Villwock, Peabody, and it's Villwock again by 1 boat length. The same lead he had last time.
Yeah, they really are maintaining. You can see in the corner that shorter course on the outside lane gets Dave out ahead, and then at the end of the straightaway, Corey's reeling him in. Both drivers keeping the boat out of the water as much as possible.
Jamie Nilsen driving to Miss Flav-R-Pac is solid in 3rd place, and then it's back to 4th place, and Jeff Bernard of the Graham Trucking. Here come our 2 boats off the corner once again.
Corey's
side by side. Look at Corey's out by about a boat length now, and it's been about the top. It's been from the halfway mark of the backstretch to the top end that it looks like Dave has been able to gobble him up. I think Corey may have acceleration, but I think Dave may have top end on him. Now they get to the corner, and Dave did not gobble him up this time. Now Corey's going to hold him in tight, but he's got to give him a certain amount of lane space. Corey's going to drive him clean, but he's going to hold him tight. A nice job there by Corey Peabody, and he is now starting to assert himself, Tanner. He had a great corner at the other end.
He sure is. He pinched the exit off on Dave a little bit tighter than David wanted to go, and certainly tighter than Dave has done in the last few laps. And then Corey got the nose up out of the water on the exit of that corner and just accelerated away.
And I think that is some of the wisdom there from our favorite Dave Villwock. I think he said, all right, you got me on that one, and he's going to let him go and take that 2nd place finish. It is lap 3 of 4. I thought, is this lap 4? It says the final lap, so this must be our 4th lap as the guys go across, and the white flag flies. Yes, so this is lap number 4. Up the backstretch, Corey Peabody, what was a side-by-side deck-to-deck duel just a half a lap ago, has now really opened up into a rather large parade, and it's going to be Corey Peabody if he can come down and pick up the checkered flag. But we've got some things to sort out at the end of this one.
We do. The pre-race was a little bit ugly, and you don't know what happened to Dave. I mean, he could have had some sort of problem at the end there.
But in the meantime, a checkered flag flies for Corey Peabody. He's going to come down and pick up his 2nd first place finish on the day, and on the weekend, here comes Dave Villwock. He will come down and pick up 2nd place points, a good finish. I'm very, very impressed with that older boat. It runs extremely well. So 2nd place to the Miss Apollo, the U27, Dave Villwock. Here comes the U11, the Miss Flav-R-Pac, and Jamie Nilsen. He will come across in a solid 3rd, Jeff Bernard. Jeff was back at the start, and he trailed the field going down into turn 1. But now all eyes are going to turn to the officials, because there was, Tanner, you and I have talked about it. I can only tell you that during the offseason, this was a massive topic of discussion. Overlap rule during the milling period, changing lanes, exactly what we saw here. Jamie Nilsen had clearly been pushed to the outside. he was going to run on the outside, and then he came off the corner up here before the score up. He can't get across there before $1:15, as you pointed out. But he clearly had given it a squirt. He was legal on a squirt, but he was trying to bring a bunch of boat speed down and jump left. And Corey and Dave were in there going, no, because he's got to have, as you pointed out and we talked about, 5 boat lengths or the length of a rooster tail, and that's the key one. He may have had 5 boat lengths, but I think in that case, maybe Jamie Nilsen. I think he was moving over, and Corey clearly got wet. And anyway, they got really close. There was maybe a little bumping going on there.
It did look like there was some contact, and Corey got himself up in the range where it was certainly within the rooster tail. But, maybe the spotter couldn't see that through Nilsen's rooster tail and ended up pinching Corey. Corey certainly pinched him back from the outside and kind of closed the door on lane 3 after the start. But that ended up being the end of Nilsen's run, and Corey came out smelling like a rose.
So Corey Peabody returning to the dock there in the U9 to Beacon Plumbing. And there's only one thing I'm going to say about how they got close up there and got tight and all that. Welcome to Gold Cup competition. Corey was going to be in a bad way if he lost that lane. He was going to have to go way to the outside. Now, he's got a lot of boat. We know he has a lot of boat. But he had his hands full driving around Dave. That took longer than maybe some people thought. And I thought Dave was maybe going to hang with him. But once he got him, but he had the drive. It'll be interesting to hear what Corey has to say. And we will have our Erica Allreed down there to get a word with him as he talks to members of his family and gets that obligatory bottle of water. Same thing you and I do, but I think he worked harder than you and I did.
Well, I mean, if you back up his last 4 minutes, it was pretty serious. He had it flame out, which we forgot about.
Right.
I mean, he literally got stuck in the water, and it's a telltale puff of steam you can see come out of these things when they just shut down like that. He got it refired, hit the panic button a little bit, got caught back up.
Here's the
and,
replay.
Now he gets himself back into the game and thought he did it right, but he got pinched.
Here comes Jamie. Now Jamie's going to, and here's where it gets tight. Jamie is right there now. Boy, there's a lot of room in there between Dave and Jeff, too. So there's a whole number of ways you can look at this. I think this is now the come down to the start, and Jeff dropped back. Yeah, Jeff, when they came off the corner and everybody put their foot in it, Jeff just faded. He faded quickly, and
at the exit of this first corner is when Corey closed the door a little bit on Jamie, but maybe he had a lot of distance to him also.
Yeah, we're going to get maybe a look at it here. Of course, this is the end of the next lap, so we didn't quite catch it there. But, yeah, there's a lot of things for the officials to look at that includes a lot of really, really fast race boats that when you start going that speed, look at them come off the corner. That looks like one boat. It's 2, and now Corey shoots. But watch Dave. Watch Dave as they get toward the top end. He's got some top-end speed there, or at least he's hanging right with Corey. Corey's not walking away from him there.
Absolutely.
That's good stuff.
And just, I mean, the turns are just poetry in motion, really. I mean, just the commitment to go by side this tight. You can see Corey, and the visibility's not great.
No.
So, I mean, now that, now Dave's got Corey in front of him, he can actually see him. But when you got a boat on the outside, I mean, there's very little visibility knowing where that boat is. At this point, we don't know if Dave had a little bit of an issue there or if he, chose to back down a little bit, but it was significant just in one lap. He dropped quite a big distance. I will say that it must be difficult. There's no brakes.
No,
right?
there are not.
So when Corey is hustling to get in and assert himself in that third lane, And he's got Dave moving over and Jamie moving over, and he's committed in that third lane. He's kind of coming into the spray with no break. He can't just brake. He's going to come in there, and there's going to be contact at that point.
Well, let's go down to the pit area because I understand our Erica Allreed is standing by with our unofficial winner of Heat 2A. That would be Corey Peabody. Erica, take it away.
Corey, an exciting race for you from start to finish, to say the least, in that one. Can you take me through your point of view through those exchanges?
Well, it's just we popped down onto ground idle back there, and so I had to get it back up when we were going to the score up, and I tried to poke a hole in between Jamie and Dave, and it got hammered pretty good, but you know that's part of racing. So I don't know, it doesn't really matter, you know. So we'll see how everything turns out, you know, data and all that good stuff. But good race, good heat win. So great to have the Beacon Plumbing boat on top again.
Great to see you up top. And through that race, you had all of that excitement, and then your mirrors were also folded in. So what was it like negotiating all the variables and still finding your way to the top?
Well, it was just reading one back to everybody, be like, you know, they're saying come over. I'm like, I see Dave over there, but I mean, Jamie's there somewhere. So it's like, when can I come over? I need to know when I can come over on Jamie. So, because I had no mirrors at that point because they were folded in. But I mean, that's a part of it. So hopefully everything's good. I mean, I don't know. I just want to win races and get into this final.
Congratulations to you and the team. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Erica, for a great job talking to Corey. Well, there's some stuff to unpack in there. I didn't realize that his mirrors have been folded up. Earlier you were talking about, you know, the visibility's not very good in these things. Well, now you take the mirrors off.
I mean, well, being maybe a little bit too straightforward, it sounds almost like he's a little worried that he's possibly going to be have a penalty brought in for the first corner, maybe closing the door a little bit on Jamie, even though he couldn't see him and didn't have mirrors, and even though what happened just before that was the door getting closed on him. But yeah, it's a great attitude. I love it when racers just say, you know, that was racing. Yep. And you know, he took a beating literally hard enough to rip those mirrors off, which takes a lot. Doesn't look like much from out here, but then yeah, hopefully it comes out in the wash, because I think it's a well-deserved win, and it was a good race. It'd be interesting to hear what happened to Dave as well towards the end there.
Well, and one thing we haven't talked about, or we've kind of alluded to the drones, and we've seen some drone shots, but every time our boats go out on the race course, we have a drone positioned in turn 1 and turn 2 up above the race course, and they do not move. They do not move. And whether we see the view from that drone on our monitor or not, it is a view that is available to the officials to make a call. We also have another drone that hangs right here at the start-finish line, and that's to help us judge whether or not boats jump the start and get across the start-finish line before the clock strikes 0. Well, that drone is still also here at that start-finish line prior to the start at the score-up, so there would be a view there too. There will be some interesting discussion, and you're going to want to go actually way up the river a little bit and kind of check the wash of the boats in the river to see if somebody was moving out, somebody was moving in. That's where you're really going to understand what happened up there. But either way, another good day, or another good heat of racing here at the APBA Gold Cup.
Certainly, and another one coming. I mean, I see Andrew Tate's crew here getting ready with radios on, and looking forward to their heat. And it's a pretty serious lineup coming up into the Heat 2B as well.
Yep, that'll be coming up here very shortly. That young man is Jimmy Gebline. He is the young man who will be on the radio talking to Andrew Tate. And he will be, and we've got to be getting close, because J. Michael Kelly's boat is, we've got to be inside 5 minutes, because there's nobody touching that boat, and I see Andrew Tate's coming away in the background. So how about you and I, as we look at a hot start here from JMK and the U8, the Beacon Electric, he will blow that out and be on the race course. There's a guy who needs some points in this particular heat. Tough getting matched up with Andrew Tate, but he needs points.
He does. Andrew Tate has certainly shown his speed, shown his race pace, and his qualifying pace. Will be tough to beat. But J. Michael Kelly has all the experience in the world.
He does indeed. J. Michael Kelly has been a master at getting a strategic lane and making it work to his advantage. So we watch J. Michael Kelly and Andrew Tate in this one. They're going to square off against each other. And then we're going to mix Gunnar O'Farrell into this whole thing. Let's give the young man his due. He had a heck of a run in our first heat, or in our second heat today, when he finished in second place. So Gunnar O'Farrell will be in this one. You're looking at him there, the U-21 Spirit of America, the predominantly white boat with the red, white, and blue lettering on it, Spirit of America. There it is. There still has the checkerboard effect, and if that looks familiar to you, Tanner, that's the checkerboard effect they had when we were over here for the test session, and the boat ran as the Lake Ridge Paving, which is the family business over on the west side of the state of Washington. So our start procedure, once again, if our new fans were with us in the last heat, we kind of walked through it, got a little hairy on the last one. We'll see if this one might be a little cleaner. It is Heat 2B of the 2025 APBA Gold Cup. It's the 115th running. Well, here we got something going on right here. Andrew Tate, I don't know if he wants to move over on Mike. He might be content to just sit there and run in lane 2, but Mike is sitting in a spot right there where there's no way Andrew could move left on J. Michael Kelly. Here comes Gunnar. I would expect Gunnar's going to stick to the outside as he has all through testing. Who went over? Mike did. Mike went over to the backside of the race course. And honestly, at this point, Tanner, I don't think Andrew's concerned about it.
No, he certainly has the pace over this, and you know, J. Michael Kelly would have known that too, so he may have committed to the inside lane and said, hey, if I can't beat him down the straightaway, I'm going to shorten the course, gear for the slower exit on the inside, and that's going to be my best bet, is to racecraft him out of it. I just love how cerebral this whole process is. You know, they need to know exactly how many minutes and seconds there are before they can cut the corner. They can't come to a complete stop, as we've seen. They generally stall the compressor, but there's just so much going on in this pre-race as we click into 2 minutes.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. Legally, yes, they could shut it off. But to your point, that stalls the compressor and you go all the way down, and then you may spend the next minute trying to wind it back up. So a minute 45 on a clock. They have to stay behind the start-finish line until 1:15. One piece we haven't touched on is what would happen if somebody jumped across the score-up buoy before 1:15. They will be radioed by the officials to slow down, drop back, and move to the outside.
Okay, so you guarantee the outside lane if you cross before 1:15 as we come down to 1:22. And they hustle it on up, getting those rooster tails up, and they're all clearly going to make it.
Yeah, and I think that there's 1:15 right there. I think what you're seeing here for the starting grid, this is the way they're going to run. I wouldn't expect anything's going to change. I think Andrew is comfortable in lane 2. I think Mike feels that if he's going to run with Andrew here, I think he feels he's probably got to get the jump on him and be on the inside of him. So, and Gunnar, I think he's just going to stay out of the way here. I don't think he wants to jump in the middle of that war.
Well, as we saw in some of these replays, if you caught that 2006 replay, I mean, the boats look similar. The footage is not 4K and beautiful, but it sure doesn't take much to get enough air underneath these things to blow them over.
No, it does not. The whole idea is it's an extremely delicate balance. So inside 30 seconds here, Kelly's going to be in 1. Tate's going to run in 2. Gunnar O'Farrell on the far outside. It's Beacon Electric. Here comes Andrew up between boats. Andrew Tate in the Goodman Real Estate will be in 2. Gunnar O'Farrell, Spirit of America on the outside. J. Michael Kelly going to be in lane number 1. Plenty of lane space. About 9 seconds off the pin. They were there at 9. And we
that's tight.
Yeah, we are inside 5. We are 3, 2, 1. Mark, and I think it's legal, and man, was it good. J. Michael Kelly broke the clock from lane number 1. So we got the good start. It is indeed a clean start, and Andrew is back about 2 or 3 boat lengths as they get to the entrance pin of the corner. Now Kelly's going to get through the turn first. You can see the other 2 boats, rooster tails on the outside. Andrew's back about 4 boat lengths. Kelly got the start he wanted, Tanner, but now he's got his right side rear view mirror full of Goodman Real Estate.
He sure did, and Andrew was hugging that second lane, hugging the first lane pretty tight, and ended up getting some pretty big kicks of water from J. Michael Kelly, which backed him down a little bit, and he's got some work to do.
So Andrew is way back. I thought he was right alongside J. Mike, but Mike's got a bigger lead than I thought. He's going to have to hold it for 4 laps. A good run off the top end of the race course. J. Michael Kelly running like a rocket right now. He's coming down with a full rooster tail lead. That surprises me, Tanner, that he's running this well right now.
Yeah, the exit of turn 1 caught Andrew just a little bit, almost to the very exit, kind of mid-corner. But Andrew is reeling him back in. This is going to be tight. He's got a couple laps to get it done. but he needs to stay out of some of this spray. You can see he's taking a little bit wider line and not getting swallowed up by that wake quite as much as he did on the first lap.
Now remember, J. Michael Kelly is in control of this race course, so when they get up here to the top end, he can push Andrew around a bit, and don't be surprised if you see him take a wider line through the corner. When he's running up here like this with the rooster tail lead that he has, Andrew can't see the buoy row. Andrew cannot see the buoys. Mike's going to do his best to hide those buoys from Andrew. And Andrew's still staying in the rooster tail, but barely. He's back just about a full rooster tail. Kelly comes out to about lane number 3. Andrew's dropping back just a little bit. Here comes J. Michael Kelly. You wait. Beacon Electric. These guys are flying, and Andrew does not want to let him go, Tanner. We're going to run this one all the way to the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he knows he's got the boat speed. We talked about it earlier this weekend. When you qualify number 1, you've got the expectation on you, and you don't want to be the driver that doesn't bring the fastest boat home with a win in a heat like this.
Now down to the bottom end. Andrew has definitely made up ground on this one. He's into the rooster tail now. He is making up ground coming off the corner, but Kelly knows right where he is. Kelly still out front 5, maybe 6 boat lengths. A great boat race here. Andrew Tate, our top qualifier, trying to run down qualifier number 4. But Kelly's got lane position. He got the jump at the start. And J. Michael Kelly is one of the very best at this. Top end of the race course. This is the 3rd of 4 times around. We may have a whale of lap number 4 here. Kelly about lane number 3. Boy, Andrew's coming. He's coming hard. He's coming all the time. He's going to make up ground, but he's still back about 5 boat lengths. Here we go. Lap number 4.
Final lap. He cut the lead in half on that last lap. If he does that again, we're going to have a gnarly finish here coming into the final. And Andrew Tate already's reeled him in turn 1.
Woo, boy, he sure did. That was a great front straightaway for Andrew. He's still back about 2 or 3 boat lengths. Can Mike hold him off? This is going to be quite the run. Nobody is in front of him on the race course. Gunnar O'Farrell is gone. It is these two. Let's settle this thing up the backstretch. It is about a 2 boat length lead. Oh boy. All they're going to do is come off that corner. It's going to be a drag race off the top end. Kelly still got the lead. He's got the lane position. Can he hold on for another few buoys? See if he doesn't push Andrew out a little farther. No, he tightened it up that time.
He's too nice a guy to do that. It probably would have been in his best interest to run him a little bit wide. Now it's a drag race.
Here we come to the finish. It is Kelly. It is Tate. It is J. Michael Kelly. J. Michael Kelly, oh, and that's by half a boat length or less. I don't know, but I don't think there's much question, Tanner. I think Kelly got him.
Boy, I'm telling you, Andrew's foot is sore from pushing that throttle through the firewall on that last straightaway. But it doesn't get any closer than that, does it?
No, it doesn't get any closer than that. We had some strong racing people hooting and hollering back here. And for those of you who are new to the sport, that's better than that. And wow, J. Michael Kelly, he did not have boat. Andrew had boat on him, but Mike was just not to be denied.
With the problems that Mike had, you know, you always kind of root for the underdog a little bit. I'm just going to throw that out there. But with the problems that he had earlier, and he had the fuel issue yesterday, and couldn't really compete in the first heat, to have him come out and battle down the fastest guy. You said before the heat, oh man, it's an unfortunate thing for J. Michael, and then he got the lane choice, did his job, and came out, you know, 1.5 feet ahead.
Wow. You know, I said when we left Madison, I felt disappointed for my friend here, Tanner Faust, because I still didn't think you had seen some boat racing, and it could be better than what we saw. You have seen some good boat racing today. This is what it's all about.
I mean, hands off to Andrew Tate, though, because in that first corner, he really did get swamped. He was trying to hug that, looked like he was really hugging that rooster tail. Like you said, you can't see the buoys from that second lane.
Right.
And it just looked like he got swamped. It completely killed his exit of that first corner, and he was trying to make it up ever since. Did an amazing 3rd lap exit on the front straightaway, and then had that same beautiful exit of the very last corner, and you could see the boat speed difference when he came to the line, and he almost, if he would have had another 20 meters until the start-finish line, he would have had it.
Yeah, another buoy, and I think we had a different outcome, but that was the way they run it. It's 2.5 miles per lap, 10 miles for the heat, and now I got another piece of good information for you. I don't know for a fact, and we'll find out after we talk to some of the teams, but I think we ran 7 boats today. We ran them all twice, and I think all 7 of them were sitting back up on the trailers all in one piece. Sunday is setting up to be a good Gold Cup.
Look, I've got to say that the reliability of these boats is just awesome. I mean, the fact that we're 100% through so far, and 0 attrition with boats making 3,000 horsepower. It really is incredible. It's a testament to the turbine engines here. You know, a lot of people don't like the sound compared to a combustion engine, and everybody likes those high compression Rolls Royces, you know, ripping along the water. But to have all the boats entered, going back on the trailer with you know, all the laps they could have done completed is just awesome.
It is awesome, and we've been talking for the last 2 months about family, and there you just saw family. That was wife Angela, that was father Jeff, and his son was there, and we saw our Erica Allreed come into the frame there. I think we're going to have her as soon as she's got reception there with her microphone and gets the camera there. We'll talk to a very happy J. Michael Kelly.
When you saw J. Michael there, you know, you could sometimes you just can't tell if it's relief or joy. And it looked like a wicked combination of the two, but I saw a lot of relief coming out of those eyes. So, you know, it's been a tough season for him so far and a long time coming. So it is awesome to see.
I understand our Erica Allreed is indeed ready with J. Michael Kelly. Let's go down to the pits. Erica Allreed, talk to J. Michael Kelly for us.
Mike, a well-deserved win here in this one as it came down to that final lap. Can you take me through that drive and route to this victory?
Yeah, no, I mean, we got ourselves in the race before the race and come up for the start. Andrew was up there a little early, backed off, and I had a full head of steam, and I felt like I was running away with it for the first 2 laps, and then I could just see him in my mirror getting closer and closer. I had my foot to the floor, and I was like, I don't want to lose this. Like, it was a much-needed win for this team. We've been working really hard. We had issues at first heat. We've just been kind of chasing a lot of issues throughout the day, so hopefully we can get some really good data from this. Ken Warren, I don't know if you're on your way back, but we love you and thinking about you. So, yeah, just all in all, good heat makes up for, you know, the previous heat and stuff. It was much needed to get those points to help move us, you know, closer to that final.
We could see how much needed it was as you embraced your family and your team there, but you talked about that first lane. Just how critical was it for you to position yourself there so you could kind of dictate that race?
Well, I mean, as of right now, you know, with what our struggles that we've had throughout the weekend, I didn't really feel like I was going to be driving around Andrew. A lot of people aren't going to drive around the Goodman boat, but the strong guys, Beacon Electric, Beacon Plumbing, Corey, guys are working hard. Our goal is to be some of the fastest boats out there, and I think we've shown that. And you know, but at the end of the day, we just want to go compete, and we want to have a chance to go out in there and win races. And you know, those deck-to-deck battles, that's exciting. I mean, I'd rather win by a lot more, but for the fans, that had been pretty cool. I think it was a matter of feet, you know, that I was able to finish in front of Andrew. So it was exciting. Yeah, I was sucking the wind out there big time coming to that finish line.
It was certainly exciting for us to witness here on the dock as well. Congratulations, Mike. Well deserved.
Thank you very much.
Erica Allreed with a good conversation. If you got that figured out, I think it was relief and happiness kind of all rolled into one there. From
he was
JMK.
emotional. He was emotional there towards the end. I mean, you can just see what it means. I mean, because we're in heat 2 out of 4, not even the final. But you can really see what it means and what they've overcome as a team. And he's been dealing with a lot of those mishaps and bits of bad luck so gracefully, and you can see that it has been wearing on the whole team over the season when you see that emotion. Such a close start to the race here, but J. Michael Kelly did the job of getting the lane, getting the start. They were right on the wire at the start, literally within a tenth or two crossing the line, and it never looked back from the inside lane.
Yeah, Mike definitely got the jump. I'm not sure what happened there, because Andrew was back about 3 or 4 boat lengths when they got down to turn 1, but when they came out of the corner and started up the back chute, I don't know if Andrew failed there for a minute or what, but all of a sudden he was a rooster tail plus, and as we're seeing here, he's back a full rooster tail from Mike, but once he got things squared away, he was chipping away every lap. He was coming, and I'm sure Mike's spotter just kept telling him he's coming. He's coming.
Yeah, you can see him lifting that boat out of the water, just trying to maximize speed. I did see Andrew get sucked into the rooster tail there in the first corner and set him back quite a distance, and then he just was chasing it down ever since. It was on the exit of this turn when he would start to pinch in close to the rooster tail, and J. Michael Kelly had one skip and shot a huge chunk of water right into Andrew's boat, and that paused him. So quite a race, quite a comeback from Andrew Tate, as he's this is the third lap. He's brought the lead back in half, and couldn't make up ground on the back straightaway, but he knew he had the final corner advantage and certainly the straightaway advantage, and almost pulled it off right here coming to the finish line with the closest race I've ever seen.
That was pretty dang good. Well, that was one of the best. I'm getting some information here on our previous heat, which we will allude to here in just a moment, but let's put that one in the books. J. Michael Kelly, Andrew Tate, Gunnar O'Farrell. As you said, that's the best heat you've ever seen. You haven't seen a lot of them, but you can watch them for a lot of years, and they may not get a whole lot better than that. I want to come back before we sign off here for the day. I want to come back what was just conveyed to me, because there was the incident in the previous heat where we weren't sure what happened when there was a little bumping going in there. I'm not going to say I called this one, but I saw this one in my mind, and I didn't say anything about it. I wondered if it could possibly be. They have ruled that Dave Villwock in the 27, who was in lane 2, moved. I think if we go back and were to pull up that footage when we look at it, maybe we do that tomorrow, but we can pull that up and take a look at it. Yeah, it got real tight in there between Jamie and the 9 and Corey Peabody, but if you look at the boat on the right of that, they ruled that Dave came out. So Dave dropped to 4th place in that particular heat.
Okay, and Dave was in lane 2, and it just took too much room from lane 2 to 3 and pinched Corey. Okay.
I mean, there was all the talk that perhaps Jamie was moving over, but there's a couple of ways that lane can get tight. It can come from either side. And
yeah, you did call that. I heard you say that. I looked at it, and you were right. It was a pretty big gap between lane 1 and 2. But yeah, we'll have to take a look at that tomorrow.
I think we're going to try and pull it up here before we sign off here. So let's see if we can get it. And what you're going to want to watch, if we get the drone view that I'm hoping that we saw, it's going to be looking at the boats coming at you. Dave Villwock is going to be in lane 2. Corey's trying to hold on to lane 3, and on the outside is Jamie Nilsen. Jeff Bernard is in the heat as well. He is in lane 1, but he is back. So we'll see if we get this racked up. Either way, while we're waiting for that to come on, I have a question for you before you head toward your Saturday evening. This is a difficult one.
Yes and yes.
That's the right answers to both.
Great.
A, you have seen unlimited hydroplane racing now. Did you have a good time today?
Yeah, I did. I did. I mean, when the schedule goes the way you want it to, it's just so much racing. And here we are. We're looking at...
now, watch there. Dave is and Dave definitely moved to the right there. That's him going under the center of the screen there, and he definitely moved to his right. Yeah, we run it back. Now, Dave is when they get the head on, Dave is the 3rd boat from the left, and you can see he kind of moved toward Jamie, and they ruled that it was Dave. We'll take a look at it one more time. This is really good footage.
If you look at the trail in the water behind the rooster tails, once they get closer, you can see that Dave's rooster tail does come from lane 1 and moves to the outside. But he can't see, to be fair, he can't see the boat in lane 1.
That's right. So great stuff there by the guys in the truck racking that tape for us and allowing us to see that. A great, great day of racing. We're not even halfway through yet.
Good gosh. It is an endurance race.
It is an endurance race. We've got 4 more heats to run for our H1 Unlimiteds tomorrow before we grab out the big trophy and run a final heat. We got our Grand Prix ready to go. Our vintage boats are going to run again. There is so much left to come at the 2025 H1 Unlimited APBA Gold Cup. I am Brad Luce. That is Tanner Faust. And for Erica Allreed and Brent Hall, we're going to say so long from the banks of the Columbia River. But check our Facebook page, check our social media pages. We'll have the schedule out when we'll be on. And make sure you're up with a cup of coffee, because it's going to be good tomorrow. We're going to have more of the same. Good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.
H1 Unlimited Hydroplanes.
The world's fastest race boats.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
doesn't get any better than that. They are going to be side by side. This is for the checkered flag.